Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to On the Level, Thomas van der Zander, Cannabear, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Mr. Amish, Sensible Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Mel's 24, Unamento, Iron 26, Endless, Goldie McKinnon, Retro Bill, Level Plain Poem, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W., Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set it for today's live show.
No, it's going to be verbatim. Once the Holy Spirit shows you in the Word, you'll be like, oh, there it is, smack dab. You know what I mean?
You know, that reminds me of how people say, like, the Bible doesn't teach flat Earth. But have you ever looked into the concordance?
No, now we're getting...
Look up to the word Shamayim Shama, which is heaven, and it literally says as as well as to the higher wait, hold on. It says the dual, perhaps alluding to the visible arc in which the clouds move, as well as to the higher ether where the celestial bodies revolve. That's in the concordance, bro. So I don't know why people deny what they or say what they say.
Well, just to wrap up this really quick, Amir, we can have this discussion another time. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love this talking about this. So,
all right.
I did want to change.
Oh,
hey,
Nathan. Was that Nathan?
Yeah, he's in here, but I did want to change the topics because I don't know if anybody saw the debate that Jaren just had with this guy named like Synthetic Warrior.
Yeah,
I saw
catch that
on Banjo's.
Yeah, I watched that. Where Jaren tried saying that Modus Ponens was like fallacious at the end or something.
Well, he didn't know which one. He confused Modus Ponens with just begging the question. He said one. He described one or the other, but he got all the way up to the trying to affirm his model, and then he made him say that the sun is actually only apparent, so it wouldn't falsify any notions of flat Earth. Where in his argument at the beginning of the whole conversation, what that it would if you saw a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. It's just amazing. He pretty much lost the plot in the last 10 minutes of that conversation.
How are people?
Yes, Neil. Yes.
I agree too.
He got out. Strong statement, Neil.
I just watched that the video, Nathan, of the guy with the black screen. That was a good one, though.
I almost didn't publish it because he wasn't on camera. So I'm glad I did. It's been well received. They all have.
Yeah. It's funny because
when I watched it, though, he was wearing like a little gray beanie.
It's funny though. I don't think he didn't mention are you a flat earther till into the conversation, and then he started using some terminology like tangent line, and he started sort of using he started talking more like a little bit of an anti-flat earther once he realised you may be a flat earther.
Yeah, that's going to become more and more common. You've got to remember that if you find an interest in this subject and type in flat earth into YouTube, what do you get?
Anti-flat earth.
So that's the rhetoric they're going to learn, isn't it? So if you're even mildly interested in the subject, that's why the lengthy conversations take place with someone who has got a vague idea how to defend it, because they've got a vague interest in the subject, clearly looked it up, and then they've come across our opponents and tried to pay attention. So they've followed the natural course of investigation, but they've been directed in a particular way down a particular rabbit hole, haven't they? Unlike us when we started. You just had the feast of nonsense given to us by our friends. Hey Brian, hey Craig, hey. Oh, that's it.
Hey, Nathan.
Hello.
Hey, Nathan. Hey, everyone.
Brian's here. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Neil. How are you?
I've been driving for the last 14 hours.
14 hours? Stop. What are you doing? Have a break.
Well, I did. I stopped for a couple of hours, but that was about 8 hours ago.
How many hours ago did you stop?
I stopped around let me see, it's probably 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, how many more
I
hours you
stopped
got?
for a couple of hours at some gas station. Now I'm at it again.
How many hours you got to go? Notice I asked him how long in time, because he's American. A couple of people will pick up on that. A couple of people won't.
No, I
can
totally
get
pick up on that.
miles,
I'm
too.
from Southern California. That's the way we talk.
You talk
Went over my
distance. If I say to you how far away is this place, you'll say it's that way 10 minutes if you're an American.
Right.
You give the duration of the journey rather than the distance that you'll travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in
But
Southern
how many
California
miles?
because of traffic.
How many
Like,
miles,
how
Neil?
far away is the store? Oh, it's like 15 minutes down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? You guys don't do that in England?
No,
That's an
we'll tell you how
American thing?
far it is.
Oh.
We'll give it you in yards if necessary.
500 years.
Yeah, because
200
here in
yards down
Southern
the road.
California, here in
We
Southern
only know what
California,
yards are
5
because of
miles.
football.
Here
One
in
at a time.
Southern.
Hold on, Neil.
I'll shut up. Keep trying.
One more
I was
time.
gonna say here in Southern California, 10 miles can take 2 hours or 3 hours. It's ridiculous.
No, I totally get
that's
the
why you
reason.
just
No, I totally get the reason. If you're in the middle of the
Yeah.
sticks, a shop that's a mile down the road might take like 15 minutes, 10 minutes to walk slowly. Whereas if you're in the middle of some city, a mile down the road might mean dealing with 2 hours of gridlock.
Yeah. It is kind of funny though the way we talk and you guys talk. It's different.
Yeah, I've been watching several shows for many years that distinguish the differences between Americans and Brits so that I can better communicate with you guys. And not say things that you might find offensive, like tidbit.
Wait, we
Why
find
would that be
the
offensive?
phrase tidbit offensive?
Some of you do.
I've never heard that.
Really?
Anyway.
The C word.
The K word. Kilometers. Offended by that.
It's pronounced kilometers.
We don't use that here. So that's where we are incredibly confusing amongst Europeans. Because we don't... If you look on any English car and you go to the bit that tells you how much fuel you're using, it will give it you in miles per gallon. And that is a metric that everybody's familiar with in this country. How good's your car? Oh, my car's exceptional. It does 40 to the gallon. Wow, that's good. Mine only gets 25 to the gallon. I've got a sports car. It only does 6 to the gallon. It's awful. Right, that's how we talk. What does it say on the petrol pumps in the UK? Litres. Everywhere. There are no gallons. Well, how far are we travelling? Well, we're travelling in miles, not kilometres.
Oh, that's interesting.
So we're fully metric, other than we're not, because we use imperial for things like distance.
So what you really need is a miles to liters translation, yeah?
We just seem to just know. I don't know how we do it, but we just seem to know, so that nobody's doing that conversion as far as I'm aware. What else is there that's similar sort of thing? Think of a couple more. There you go, heights. So typically speaking, if I measure something in the UK, almost without exception, I will measure it in centimeters. It's just far more granular, it's more accurate, it's easier. So I will use centimeters almost instinctually. But if someone asks me my height, or I measure my kid's height, they're definitely getting measured in inches and feet. Yeah, so I don't know why.
That's the same in Australia. Everything's in meters and centimeters, but then they say, "How tall are you?" "Oh, I'm 6 foot."
Yep. Same with weights. How heavy are you? I'm about 12 stone, 13 stone. Oh, okay. Well, that's slightly different because the Americans will give it in pounds, but it's the same system, right? So I'll give it in stone. But then if I buy anything or ask my wife how many grams in this particular recipe is what I'll ask her, not how many pounds of flour. I mean, I've vaguely got an idea what a pound of flour looks like, but I really don't know. I know what a kilo of flour looks like. I know what a kilo of sugar looks like.
Well, they were still talking in stones in Australia, I think probably in the 70s, yeah? My grandfather used to talk in stones, but then we went to kilos and grams.
What do you mean stones? What the hell is that?
14
Well, a
pounds.
stone, like 10 stone or whatever it is in weight. Why?
Like when you got inches and then you get to feet. We got pounds and then you get to stone.
My
How many
partner's like
pounds
that.
is a stone?
14.
14.
Ah,
My partner can't picture metric. Like she'll say, "Can you measure?" She might want something for the hallway, or I've got to measure. Well, measure that for us. Oh yeah, it's 55 centimeters.
So she was born in the 70s.
What's that?
She's born in the 70s,
Yeah.
wasn't she?
Yeah. So she say, "What's that?" I say, "Well, it's 55 centimeters." Yeah, but what is it? She can't. If I tell her if I convert it to inches, she can visualize that. Then she can't visualize metric.
Right, so she was raised during the transition. Yeah, but some of my brother's friends who are a bit older than I have the same exact problem. They've started learning as the conversion started to come in, and they just can't get it. Whereas because they weren't raised being taught it as standard in school from day one, it's confusing.
In refrigeration, I mean, and Neil will know this in air conditioning as well. I think it'd be the same over there. When you're dealing with the pipe work for refrigeration, it's all imperial, like quarter, 3/8, half inch, 5/8, 7/8. But then when you're measuring things, you're using metric, but all the pipe work and stuff you're using and the tools to flare out and swage them pipes, it's all imperial. So you're having to use two. It's never changed that. You're juggling between two all the time on the job.
Yeah, some people convert kilos with liters as well. Like I don't know, a liter of sugar. It makes no sense. It's a kilo.
Pint of lager is still a pint of lager, isn't it?
We generally don't talk in centimeters here. We talk in millimeters.
No,
Everything's
that's
200 millimeters.
So the Americans do have a different size pint as well, don't they? Unless I'm very much mistaken. I've only just woken up.
Well, here in America, a whale is the
585.
size of a basketball court.
Wait, one more time.
No, in America, a whale is the size of a basketball court.
A whale? I don't think whale is a standardized measuring metric.
Court is basketball.
Am I missing something?
No, there was an article written about how big whales are, and they'll compare it to the size of basketball courts. You saw that?
Oh, how lovely. Thanks for that.
like the ISS is the size of a football field.
Oh,
That's
now I
how
see
we
what you're
like to measure
doing.
things. We compare it to stuff.
I see what you mean. That's one Eiffel Tower, that. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the depth of Erie Lake or Superior Lake is like the height of a Empire State Building. I mean, the depth of it.
Gotcha.
Meanwhile, 1 degree of elevation angle from Polaris is 60 nautical miles.
69 statute.
Yeah, and we had a blue moon, which is when the moon is closer to Earth.
No, it's not.
The places are not
That's not a blue
flooding.
moon. That's not a blue moon.
No, blue moons, 2 full moons in 1 month, right?
Correct. Correct. In a calendar
Yeah.
month, 2 full moons is a blue moon.
I used to literally think the moon looked blue, but I could never. Oh, I guess I've never seen a blue moon before.
Once in a blue moon just means once common enough to be happening twice in 1 month, basically. That's all it means.
That just tells me their calendar's off.
Again, Apocryphon?
I was saying that just tells me that they've made a calendar that's bad because there's supposed to be one per month.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why we're here, isn't it? They're trying to unify several celestial systems into one unified system, and it never quite jives because they're all running on their. They're not like cogs in a clock. The stars, are they? They're
Right.
not dependent on one. Isn't ticking over the other. They're independent and separate systems. Sun, the moon, the stars, the planets. They're not all doing the same thing, and they're not intertwined in like a cog-like manner.
They're all doing their own little thing, their own cycle, aren't they?
Yeah, and there's going to be times when the cycles overlap or coincide with each other, but they are separate cycles.
It'd just be really cool to have known like the secrets, like the ancient secrets, like the way they used to read it back then as a clock in the sky to be seasons, and like the time of the date and the year, and like the hour. Like it just seems like it was a perfect clock until man screwed it up, made it their own thing.
So in my language, the word for the moon and what the word for the month is the same. Meset. It's one word.
It's almost the same for us, isn't it? Month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have just kept it that way.
I always hear Dave Weiss calling them moons. We used to have 13 moons. Now we have 12 months. Like,
Yeah, I told him that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. I thought he came up with it. I don't know.
No.
I heard him saying that before I knew what you guys were.
No, and I got it from Stinky
funny.
Cash.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, if you have a book from the 1700s, a lot of them, if they have the calendar in the back, they'll have 13 months.
It's just that's how many lunar cycles there are. It just doesn't
Right.
work particularly well with the rest of the heliocentric model, does it?
It's really weird when you think about it, like how that's crazy, like how they convinced everybody to just change from what was set and understood and followed and worked well. And they just like changed it just to match their model, just to make it, because it didn't make sense for their model then, for the what they created with the heliocentrism. So it's just weird, like everybody just like went along with it, like, okay, this is it. This
Right,
is
but
what we're gonna
that's
Plus,
do.
but it's no
it
different
puts
to
you out of
changing.
balance with nature as well, I think.
Hold on,
Sorry.
let me just drop this in because we were literally just discussing it 10 minutes ago. Like changing from imperial to metric, for example. That's people
True.
it's just one half generation of people are put out by it, and the rest just get used to it.
Yeah. True.
The only ones affected are one ex-wife.
Well, they got everybody to agree the same year, 2024, since the birth of Christ. I think that's like not a world. I mean, even the Muslim countries and Chinese.
There are so many wise words that come from the movie The Matrix. You accept the reality that you are born into. If you are told that you are living on a ball, then you will accept it if that is the world that everyone else around you accepts. We have a certain pack mentality as people, don't we? We're lazy and we want to rely on others to tell us that are in superior positions, and then we want to rely on other people of the same stature to agree, i.e. consensus. That's what people yearn for. Authority and consensus. If you can offer them both of those things and let them believe that they're also quite smart by being able to repeat something you've told them, most people are happy with that standard. That's the level they want to attain. Do I comprehend this to a certain extent where I'll seem mildly intelligent if someone brings up the subject? Do I agree with the mass consensus? Is it certified by the higher authorities? Tick, 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 done, move on with day. Not, well, is that true? Should I check where that came from? No one's doing that.
That guy was going down that line when he started talking about nebulas and black holes, and you could tell he was just repeating the heliocentric nonsense when he was having when he started getting a little bit triggered a little bit.
Same with that other guy called Ozzy that was talking about when he shoots. You can imagine him being a kid holding a gun and his dad standing with him telling him, yeah, the drop over distance is because of the Earth curve. Just made it up on the spot with a young, impressionable kid, and it's stuck with him forever. Now he thinks that drop over distance when shooting a bullet is Earth curve being accounted for. What you get told when you're impressionable. Like when we play those videos of the American kids watching rocket launches going, it's coming back down. And go, no, that's Coriolis. Or whatever, the adult makes it up on the spot and the kid just accepts it.
And the kid believes the parent because why would my parent lie to me? You trust them.
Takes the advice from a parrot. Did you say parrot or parent?
I said
Early joking
parent.
today. Early joking today. Early.
That's funny though. It's a pun intended, probably. Because you're just parroting, right?
Yep. And a lot of people just parrot the same stuff. Fraction.
A fraction.
Little
Sounds like
hungover
Nathan's
there,
getting ready.
Nathan. Nathan a little hungover. That's
Sounds
why
like
he kind of started later.
I was gonna say it's quiet, so it sounds like he's getting ready to start the show.
Yeah, Neil was about to have a heart attack.
What was that?
Neil was about to have a heart attack.
Yeah, because I'm on a long drive, and it would have been helpful to have a show.
Yep.
You know,
Indulging, stay woke. You can get into the conversation. Keeps your eyes open. You can, yeah, I feel you now. And today was perfect because all the doctors are out and we're just doing like, a little bit of administrative stuff, cleaning some rooms. And I was just salivating like, come on, man, of all days. But I'll be back Thursday because Thursday I'm home with the children because the daycare is closed this week, preparing for the school year. So
Get it on. Let's get it on.
hello.
Hello.
Hello, good to have you all. Welcome, one and all. Good to be here. A little bit later than usual. I was tired and I had to have a snooze. There's nothing more complex than that. Just burnt out from making too many Omi videos. So we'll do a bit of housekeeping. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature?
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, we did that bit, D. A bit slow on the uptake, mate. Any evidence of Earth
No,
curve?
there's no evidence of Earth curve. It's never been observed. It's never been measured. The measurements that they do use in the Earth curve calculator are actually describing flat Earth measurements from surface level and line of sight, which is two parallel lines.
Nathan's
Yeah,
video.
it's nothing but a total assumption.
Temperature
It's an
while
assumption.
shooting bullets.
Yeah, the one guy said you could shoot bullet and count for Earth curvature when the bullet drops. Yes. Just a guy that's not familiar with the subject. A bit of Dunning-Kruger. But yeah, you just reach for whatever you can reach for in your arsenal when you're suddenly confronted with something that leaves you in cognitive dissonance. You're going to scramble. What have I got in my back pocket that can confront this awful situation?
I gotta say, I never heard of that. I heard of Coriolis.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
like I say, he's just confusing two different claims, isn't he? I wouldn't necessarily hold that against a normie, you know. If there was more time and it was in a scenario where I thought the guy couldn't just click a button and disappear, I might have corrected him and said, well, actually, the globe Earth claim with regards to bullets is the claim that Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour, causing a deflection in the bullet, as opposed to Earth curvature. But I wouldn't necessarily expect a average Joe normie to know that. So the fact that he's got something to that effect in his arsenal doesn't surprise me because it's common globe rhetoric, and it doesn't surprise me that he got it wrong. But it wouldn't suddenly lead me to calling him an idiot or, you know, anything of that nature. He's not like the guys that come here to defend their globe. They should know, shouldn't they? They're here to defend it. I'm dropping it on these random people, and they haven't got a clue that I'm even covering the subject. So they're completely unprepared. So if they do, like that guy, at least come up with something, you've got to kind of admire the fact that they're at least trying, because they're not expected to know anything, are they?
yeah, but how quickly they defend that religion. It reminds me of me. My brother first told me I was defending it tooth and nail.
One guy said in the comments exactly that. He said, listening to this guy back reminds me of how I reacted when I first found out the Earth was flat. I reached for any old garbage and spewed it, and it sounded stupid after the fact. Well, that's that's normal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you start defending it.
I go back and listen to some of
I
my
didn't
old videos, and I absolutely cringe at some of this. I gave QE credit for this a couple of days ago. I was like, till you arrived, QE, I was just the same. Oh, I've got a vague idea about this. Spew, 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 nonsense, nonsense. You look back on it and go, ooh, really? Maybe I should take this video down. You don't. That's just how it is. It's documenting my history through this subject. And as a bullshitter at the start of the process, before QE intervened, that's what I was. I'm happy to. Well, not exactly happy, but I'm gonna wear it and own it. I'm gonna have to, aren't I?
Well, I didn't really get a chance to hear the entire thing, the one I'm speaking about. But he said he was getting ready to go to some type of training or something, and you asked him, was he doing? He said no, it was something that he was considering to do, but I forgot whatever training it was. But he seemed to not be spewing or kind of being rebuttal attitude with you. He seemed to just kind of like listen, and everything you asked him, he said, yeah, sure. And then there was a guy that said he was from Mars. You could tell he was just pulling your leg because at the ending, before y'all closed out, he said he agreed with you. You said, you know, there's no such thing as space. He said, I know, mate. And then y'all hung up. So
my new favourite is that Aussie guy by far. So before it was those two kids in the car that were, you know, horrified at thermodynamics. But my new favourite is that guy because of his attitude, and he did something that I've not yearned or hankered after, but something that I've actually said to opponents on the debate, which is I've just given you what I've learned over the last 10 years. The least you could do is say, well, thanks. for offering it. You may not accept it, but that's what that guy did. It's like, well, thank you for taking the time to tell me this. I may not accept it, but thank you for educating me. He literally said those words. And I was a bit taken back. You know, you're not expecting to hear that from somebody like that. But with every challenge that he offered, I saw a little bit of me doing it 10 years ago in him doing it. But he didn't seem to have any malice towards me as he did it. He knew he was fighting his own internal cognitive dissonance. You could tell. And he didn't, that was the second thing, turn around and just demean me. Well, you must be stupid then. What he said, completely out of the blue, was when you tell people these things, it's going to make them feel stupid when you point it out. And he was absolutely bang on. That's the problem. That's why people brace against it. Because they're suddenly left with this idea that what they thought was correct and they could use at a cocktail party to seem moderately intelligent is suddenly useless. Well, that means I don't know those things, so I must be stupid. So with him, in that moment, I instantly had to reiterate that to him. No, you're not stupid. If you go into a class that says it's physics-based, and your understanding in the lesson is that they are telling you the truth about the world, and then they tell you something, there's no reasonable man that would be expected in that class at 12 years old, or however old, 9 years old probably, to go, excuse me, miss, sir, I don't believe you. Nobody's expected to do that. We're all indoctrinated in the same way, so how could it be reasonable to expect you to challenge an authority figure in a class that's teaching you about physics, that's definitely true, you learned only the year earlier that it was proving things, that we're on a ball flying through a sky vacuum around the sun? That you can't be considered stupid for just accepting something that someone has told you and reiterated and educated you in as being truth. How can that make anybody stupid?
Very well said. Very well said. And most people have that attitude. They wouldn't be so defensive and get offended and react in such a, you know, I don't know, like I guess if they can just take that into consideration, they could be like, wow, man, thanks, duly noted. I never thought about it like that because we were all reverent. You know, we had reverence for those who was teachers, whether it was a parent, whether it was a professor, whether it was a teacher, whether it was an adult you were having a conversation with that said, of course we live on a globe. You just looked at that person, you looked up to them like, you know, you have no reason to lie to me. So you must be telling me the truth.
Well, we often say on the show, don't become the monster, right? If you're fighting against the monsters, and that is a danger for us. But I think there's another, how can I call it, a feast of nonsense hors d'oeuvre that's also on the table that we just haven't noticed, which is a way of getting this us versus them mentality. And the people who are promoted within at least the YouTube algorithm are disgusting human beings. Aren't our opponents scum of the earth? Well, that trains us to treat our opponents, if we're discussing the globe earth versus flat earth subject as a debate, which it isn't, will automatically be trained and brainwashed into assuming that everybody's a globetard. End quote, us. Now, I wouldn't have brought this up or laboured it at the beginning of the show, but for the fact that another commenter highlighted it to me, and just after I woke up literally about an hour and a half ago, I read that comment and I'm like, the guy praised me. It might have been a girl, I don't know. But the person praised me and said, I typically just treat everybody who believes they're on a globe as a, quote, globetard. Now, it suddenly made me appreciate how wrong that really is. You're like, well, I've probably assisted that guy, although he was new, so maybe that's why he's had the opinion. But if he had been around for a week earlier, you'd hear me treating our scumbag opponents like they treat us. Well, wouldn't that just be the perfect solution? You get both sides to become particularly nasty to each other, and then they both come off really badly. Now, the side that you want to win isn't anti-flat Earth, it's globe Earth. So you have the super highly polished, never-to-be-tarnished Neil deGrasse Tyson presenting globe Earth, and you have the people in the pits getting as dirty as possible with the only people who can challenge shiny Mr. Tyson. That's us. So we become the monsters, alongside our hand-picked scumbag opponents that get all the views directed to them when people search for this subject. So we shouldn't become the monsters, and we need to, only because of that commenter, thank you, if you know you are, not going to look you up.
Yeah, but I think that's why these videos are good, Nathan, because it keeps you balanced. Keeps me balanced because I got to realize that they're not the people that we deal with every day.
I mean, I knew that
but
anyway,
not,
which is perhaps why I'm well positioned to do this. We deal with extremists here. That's the people who come here, and it's not just any extremists. It's the extremists that are so compelled to tell us that they're wrong. They can work their way through their own fear of coming here. Most of them, most of our opponents are just consumed with fear about being here and will look for excuses. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat the reality of what our opponents are actually dealing with when they come up with their excuses and project their fear onto us, call us cowards. For me personally, they'll say things like he won't leave his echo chamber. And 3 years ago, there would be me searching through all the examples of me going to other platforms and getting muted and showing them that no, this is how you behave when I have a good point and argumentation that's going to win, I get muted. You will chant through the top of that argumentation on my show, which I have some control over, so I can actually get to the end of the point. But that, to them, is an excuse to not come because they're in fear. If this was a jolly old holiday, everyone would want to come. We're not offering a jolly holiday, are we? We're offering a very difficult time for our opponents. So it's scary.
and like Neil said, not only does it it shows another side of you to the point where it justifies why you may be less tolerant with the opponents, the ones that are the trigger trolls, your Craigs and your Matthews, the ones who come here just to raise havoc and chaos and interrupt the show and get the audience, off the wrong track and to try to project and everything like that. But when you speak to these people and even the ones that resist you and say, no, mate, no, you still have this patience, this gentle approach about it that you're really ingeniously trying to teach them and enlighten them. And it kind of makes people who have this stereotype of you that may have seen one show or may have watched whatever video from the opponent that got you lit up on a certain segue or segment of their video, look at you in another way like, he's not really like that. So these videos are helpful in that way.
Depends on the scenario.
As long as there's no
If it calls for
boobies
outrage,
or
if there's a scenario that calls for outrage, I can ham that right up, right? I trained in performing arts. Knowing how to ham up a certain scenario is what I trained to do. Be dramatic. But in terms of sat with OME, it is a lot more just me as I'd be sat there. So someone says, well, you look like you're slumped and you've got a bit of a beer belly on. I'm like, yeah, I am slumped in my comfy chair doing this on the casual. I'm about as laid back as I could be. Now, put myself on camera, I'm laser sharp focused, running about 20 different things, looking about 1 million different monitors. So I'm like completely ready to do everything when I'm in Flat Earth Debate. OME, the chances are I haven't even paid attention to who's still connected. So the first one I did, Chocolate happened to still be connected because I'm not really paying attention. It's just easy. So you can relax. But this, now, people don't appreciate you. That's why I used to knock you, Neil, when you're like, oh, you got buttons to press. You have absolutely no idea how stressful it is to run this show. Incredibly. It's difficult as well. There's a lot to keep an eye on. And keep the conversation going when it goes silent.
No. Yeah, I think I mentioned that a year ago, of most podcasts have literally some technical engineer handling all the buttons while the other guys on the mic doing most of the talking. And you're doing it all. So it's like you're engineering and controlling and directing the show. So yeah, that is very difficult.
That man says you just got to go push your buttons.
Yes, indeedy. But that said, I've done it under more stressful circumstances with a terrible computer a couple of years ago when I first got the computer chassis that I'm currently using. That was far more stressful because technically speaking, everything was physically failing while I was doing the show. Now that happens once every couple of weeks at the most, which is much, much better. Anyway. So yeah, hopefully you've all been enjoying the OME videos. I've put a couple more out. So today I put out a couple more shorts. Man thinks he's from Mars, and finding out you have a globe religion. Those are the couple of shorts videos that I put out today. Along with yesterday evening, I put out an extended video that we only made yesterday. So I literally was so keen to get it straight out that I edited it till God knows what time in the morning, and then put it immediately out to the public. And that's called "University Student Finds Out He's Part of a Cult." Unfortunately, the guy hasn't got his camera on, so it's just a black square. So there's not any really easy way. I did consider like putting some graphical visual thing over the top of his black square just to make it that much more interesting visually, but I didn't.
That's the one I'm talking about. Yes, that's the one. You never saw his face, but he was going to school. That's the one. That was very good.
I haven't seen that one.
I released it in the middle of the night for us in the UK. At
Good
least.
one, that. I agree with D-Rose, though. It is nice to watch. It is. Sorry, Nathan. I'm just agreeing with D-Rose. I think I spoke to you earlier. It is nice. It is educational, and watching you do it in that way, where you're not having to deal with the anti-flat earthers and shout over them, and the content's lost sometimes within the argument. And I think the points are getting across quite clearly. It's nice when you get someone who's having a conversation with you. And just to see how these normie Joes are responding and how they reacting to you telling them that space is fake, and explaining how gas will expand into any available space. And you can see the penny dropping sometimes with them. It's nice. It's really nice to watch.
I can't. I see the obvious moments in that regard, but that's something I can't really see. Maybe because it's me in them. It's harder for me to see that, but I picked up that from comments, which is people were suggesting that as an educational tool, these are better. Now, that's quite weird for me to comprehend, because in my mind, having somebody who's staunchly against you trying every single trick in the book to get around what you're saying, and one of us, or let's just keep it as me, I get them to say something like Earth is measured flat, but it's only because it's so big. That to me is a monumental achievement when you're dealing with an opponent that's very much against your position. So to get them to not only concede your position, but say it out loud, that to me is a massive win. So to hear someone say, oh yeah, hearing some rando say, oh yeah, that's an interesting point, when I've put the exact same point, it just hasn't been met with, no, there's a tangent, or whatever. So fine, if that's the way they're being received, then great. I'll encourage people to share them more than the live show. So, rather than in the middle of this show now at this point, I'd normally say something like, there's 55 people watching. Excuse me. We're at a different time slot. Please share the show. Instead, it might be a better idea to say, plug the OMI videos and say, go and share them, because they'll be much better received from reciprocants you share them with, as opposed to the live show, which can get heated, can create a negative impression of us if we're getting annoyed with someone that's repeated and rinsed the same point 10 times and we're starting to lose our patience with them. That might not necessarily be as effective as a 3-minute video where I'm just saying, did you know you're in a religion where you go around the sun? Well, actually, that came from measuring Polaris and wrapping latitude around a ball. End of video.
So I'm going to say it like this. The ones where we review and you have the video run and you pause it and you dissect it without, even if you make a little jokingly insults, whatever, but I'm saying that those are still flawless. And these new ones that you're doing with the normies, excellent. The ones where you're literally talking to these Discord trigger trolls, those are the ones that leave that between us. Those I wouldn't even necessarily, unless you can highlight and just specifically edit a part where you get them to concede. Those are great too. Little small 2, 3, 4 minute ones that you throw in there, a portion of a live show. Those are great. Those are the best ones, because what it does is in a debatable aspect, you show the concession of the opponent. The review, you let these high-ranking heliocentrists and these anti-flat earthers speak, and you pause it and you break them down. That's also something that's educational for even a normie. especially somebody like the university guy who's a little scholastic. You know what I'm saying? Because you can hold a conversation with him and use terminologies, whereas you have the other girl. You say, you ask him, she goes, she's smoking. No, never heard of it. You know, sometimes you have to kind of really, wash it down and make it simplified for them. But those three types of videos, the reviews, these new ones you're doing, and the little segments where you get the concession on soundtrack are perfect for everybody.
Well, in terms of live discussion and shows that are extended, so ignore the clips. The least popular are the ones that are extended fundamentalist religious zealot chanting 10 times, even if there's a victory at the end of it. Those are the least popular. So that, as a coincidence, is actually the Friday show in Politics Server. Even though the Politics Server live shows tend to be extended, they're actually at the lower end of the view count for live shows. So in other words, I know from the stats that people are more inclined to watch a show like this, where we are just together discussing the whys and wherefores of what's going on in Flat Earth at the moment. That will be more popular than a Friday show where there's a string of rinse and repeaters getting their argument in, their rebuttal, followed by it being ignored, a repetition of their claim, followed by a repetition of the rebuttal that's rumpused, X10, next man. That will be at the bottom of the show pile in terms of its popularity, believe it or not. To me, those are the shows that should be at the top of the pile. But actually, when you think about it, those shows appeal to a very small minority in our already niche community. It's the higher level. It's us, basically. They appeal to us. They appeal to the Wandecks, the D Roses, the Brian's Logics. Those shows appeal to us. The ones that have got a high level understanding of the discussion and see the nuance in how the debate's trying to be pushed by our opponent and how it's subtly being brought on track by us to win. That appeals to a very small minority of people, doesn't it?
I concur 1,000%. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean we're not going to do it. That's the purpose of the show. And in so doing, we get to have these discussions and enlighten people with a nice, concise summary when we're all chill. But we can only do that because we've gone through the whys and wherefores of the debate. So the debate's 100% necessary, even though it, as weird as it sounds, isn't necessarily the most popular bit of the show, which just to me baffles me when I look at the stats every time I see it. But that's probably why OME is now existent in videos. I look at that and go, what am I going to do about it? You know, I've still got to pay the mortgage next month. So as much as everyone's loving these videos, it is a direct reaction to me being poor. So there's only so many times I can say, it's my birthday coming up and I'm overdrawn. Please, can you give me some money? Well, that's never going to change. It's still the same, actually. I'm still overdrawn. But I can't just perpetually e-beg for people to give me PayPal and Ko-Fi donations to bail me out. I've got to proactively do something that actually tries to generate the revenue that the channel should generate, even though it's suppressed. So by doing that, that has a knock-on effect that people in turn will go, I do want to support this guy, when they hear the live show and hear me appealing to how poor I am like now. But you can only get extra support from people by garnering them into your fold, like gathering them up. So there's a limited chance that one guy that goes, no, I do appreciate what you do, I'm going to chuck you 10 quid on PayPal. And that keeps me going, literally, because there's a huge chunk of people that all do that for me. If there wasn't, and I was just dependent on the videos and their revenue, I'd have gone 10 years ago. I definitely wouldn't be here now. In other words, it's dependent on gathering up people who see how valuable what we do is. I say we intentionally, and then paying me for that, what we do. So there we go.
Hey Nathan, has any of them subscribed to you? The ones that you've been speaking to?
Yes, lots of people have subscribed, also off the back of TikTok. So over the last 6 or 7 days on TikTok,
yes,
I've had about 50 or 60,000 views. Huge number of views over on TikTok. And as a consequence of that, I am obviously in each of the videos talking specifically about subscribing to my channel. So as a result of me saying, yes, go and subscribe to my channel right now, and them looking it up, that's directing TikTok viewers to me here. So let's just see if I can get control of G+, who obviously have decided to have a massive row while I'm detailing TikTok.
Yeah,
what's going on?
D-Rose is off mood. D-Rose is off mood at Subway.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Jesus. It's all right. I can control that.
Hold on, but you know what? Hold on. I did want to say something. That's why I want to say something real quick. Speaking on what you said about the different categories, but I'm gonna tell you this: with this political correct society, progressive society, we progressed to the point where those days of going at the opponent and chopping their heads off and saying, you like the way they taste, you know, they salty, all of that's 2017, 18, 19, even 20. FED. You know what I'm saying? We've progressed, and now to grab that broader audience of the normies and being at this new political correct society of being sensitive about people and things like that, you can. And even my wife, she says, you know what y'all got to say is very, very, very educational. She said, but if y'all could just tone it down on this and tone it down on that, you would probably get a lot of more people to receive what you got to say.
Well,
Even
that's
the people who you're not. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
well, you can thank a specific group of Christians for that actually. So this is another case in point in terms of the dedication of this audience for this channel. So there was, I'm sure I've said this in various different ways previously, but if you don't like something, right? If you're in a shop and you just don't like what they provide you just don't shop there anymore. Typically, that is the response, and it's the same, much more so with a YouTube channel. People are incredibly fickle. So if they just don't like what you're doing, in case of tasting my salty balls or whatever I'd say to somebody when I won, there was a group of Christians that took me to one side and were kind enough to actually express their concerns to me, which is difficult. It's like writing a complaint letter. Most people can't be bothered. So they sat down with me and laid it out in terms that were kind, gentle, and explained how detrimental that would be to a group of people that were Christian that were watching the show. And they laboured the point enough for me to understand it, empathise with it, and react to it. And they consistently called me up. That might sound like a bad thing. It isn't, I assure you. When I faltered, and just kept a tab and made sure that I was doing stuff that would keep an entire community of Christians, specifically, happy, where I wasn't. Now that kind of dedication for my audience was so humbling. And I told them, I was like, most people would just say, sod this, I'm out, I don't like this. Now, if you don't like something, why would you engage with it? Trying to change it is very difficult and time consuming and requires effort for very little gain for the person that's just potentially a walk away from you type of person. But in this case, and I will note it because it was noteworthy, it was a group of Christians very specifically. So that's the reason why that doesn't. It does occasionally happen, right? It's still in there. You can take the man out of the trailer park or whatever you want to use as an analogy. It's still there a little bit, but for the most part, it's not. And that is directly as a credit to a group of Christians. One of them specifically will get named because I'm sure she won't mind. But Paula specifically is one of the moderators. Anyway,
That's what's up. That's good. And just real quick, there's a thing in the music industry, especially when certain music comes out within our industry, we make two versions. You can have the version with the explicit language and say, man, you don't want to buy it, too bad, da da da. But then if you really want to make that money abroad, you want to spread that demographic, you make it what they call a radio edit version. So it can get airplay. So that people can have that other alternative version of your song. And when they found out that that was successful, they continue to do that, even if it was more costly because they had to go into the engineer room and edit and do a lot of things to make the song radio friendly. But in the long run, when you want to spread your demographic and get your listeners, your viewers, or whatever, you have to do that.
Yeah, produce a PG version. That's how they kept saying to me, keep it PG. That's to say that you might not, as a parent, parental guidance, want to have your 5-year-old listen to this show. Because at the time, it's like my daughter, she doesn't sit in, occasionally, yes, they'll wander in, but for 99% of the time, I don't want my kids listening in on this show. So after the show's finished and I'm sitting watching Eleanor getting taught about the heliocentric model, I'm not saying a word to my wife while she's teaching her that because it will just confuse an 8-year-old, won't it? Now, when it's completely devoid of any connection to an actual education, like today on the way back from a class, I happen to have sat outside the class editing that video because I'm keen. I sat in the car in the rain going, I really want to get this. I really enjoyed doing it. That's why I can't stop. I'm totally hooked. But I'm in the car, literally, while my kid's in the class, editing that video, getting it ready. So when I drove back, I'd rendered it and needed to check the render, press play. And as a consequence of that, for probably the first time I can think of, my eldest daughter actually sat and watched a video. It wasn't published, it was me checking the render. But she sat through it and I was like, You know, I was a little bit uncomfortable doing it. So I'm like, I'm exposing her to stuff that she's too young to be exposed to. But that's not to say that, again, with a PG rating, which I'd hope this show would get, it doesn't mean to say that your average adult and their 12, 13-year-old kids, they don't go, well, you do have a basic grasp of what the school will expect you to say in common society so you don't get ridiculed, but would you like to know a little bit more? You might be tempted to introduce your teenage kid to this subject, for example. So, yeah, PG, having a PG rating on the show, it's all mental. It's mentally, I mean, not like it's stupid, but it's something that we're trying to mentally put onto the show. There is no rating, right? We don't get a PG certificate, but we're attempting, when we say don't swear and try and rein people in when they can't stop, we're trying to keep it family friendly, so you can just literally
Yeah, we're
sit down
trying to
with your
keep it
teenagers.
shareable.
Yeah, shareable. Which I'd hope it is. I said I wouldn't do it, but I will. We're at a different time slot, so 70 people watching. It'd be great to get up to the usual 100. Please share the show if you've not done so already. There's a good chance the regulars have shared this show with you to get you here in the first place. But smash that share button. It's only a couple of clicks to get it on your favourite social media platform. We'll cover a video tomorrow. I'm quite happy just chit-chatting for the rest of the show, if I'm honest. I didn't look to see if there was any videos in Master B. But if we get back into that stride tomorrow, we all good with that?
Why are you guys talking about censoring yourself? Did someone drop the F word?
That's the only censorship we're talking about, really. A linguistic censorship that you would employ if you were stood at a bus stop. That's my standard. Would I be happy effing and blinding with Nextman about Flat Earth if there was two grannies and a kid sat at a bus stop waiting for a bus? If the answer is no, then that's a good chance we shouldn't be doing that on this show. But by the same standard, the two grannies and a kid at a bus stop with its mother, that's the standard that's being employed when I go and chat to randos on OME. It's the bus stop of people. That's what I see it as.
Did Georgie tell you what happened to him the other day?
No.
He had it on Bluetooth, and he was working in a restaurant and never took the Bluetooth off. All of a sudden, he's not hearing it anymore on his phone. And when he gets inside the restaurant, there you are, blasting someone through the whole restaurant.
Oh no. Well, that's another. That was the old standard. I used to picture it as if somebody had it. Do you ever go to an open air market where they'd have an old fashioned radio, battery powered, dangling from the metal struts that hold the tarpaulin over the top of their stand, and they just have whatever Radio 2 or something blasting out, or talk radio with the sports on or something? You know what I'm talking about? That would be the standard.
Absolutely.
So that's what I picture. It's like, could this get the market stall trader in trouble because we're effing and blinding at Nextman? But if we're shouting, that's not necessarily going to get your market stall trader in trouble. But it isn't a good look in a restaurant when your Bluetooth phone connects to their Bluetooth server and goes out through their PA. That's hilarious, George. But that's just it. Go on.
I was just gonna say that gets you fired pretty quick, I think.
Yeah. It would if we were swearing. Or being vulgar.
I don't think it was. I just think we're doing our regular thing.
Yeah,
but it was going through the whole restaurant.
But if this was going through the whole restaurant now, and we started talking about elevation angles to Polaris and receding towards the horizon at 1 degree for every 69 miles, and then suddenly, while that all seems very reasonable, you just hear some guy say, no, we take measurements from a tangent plane over the top of that. That it just sounds like a debate, which is what it is. Well, I've heard plenty of, I think it's Radio 4 here in the UK, where they have debates, and they can get very heated occasionally. It's not like it's not broadcastable, though. Most people would rather have music in a restaurant rather than me. That's why I said market stall rather than restaurant. We're definitely not restaurant broadcastable material.
That guy Nathan's
heated
not allowed
because
to use tangent plane when expressing his views on Earth curvature.
I did take him through it. He said tangent, and I explained what he would mean by that. That is the dingleberry. You know, although I dumbed it right down, I did try and get across to him the fact that if you're talking about the plane of the Earth, lucky for me, he was the one who said it. He's like, well, yeah, that's the plane of the Earth that we're measuring. it's a tangent plane, it's not real, like our opponents do in the debate. Again, props to him. But like our opponents, he just wasn't as slippery in trying to hide the fact that that is what we're actually measuring. He did recognize it and said it quickly, which is good for me.
Right, but you can't measure it if it doesn't exist.
Yeah, he said it was see-through. He didn't have the anti-flat Earth rhetoric. Is that the right word? He didn't have the anti-flat Earth rhetoric to try and skirt that issue. So he just said that the plane you've measured is see-through.
He was still using a plane, though, wasn't he? Not using any curvature.
Yeah, he knew it too. Shout out to Sensual Goat for the super chat. See if I can scroll down to get it on screen for you. It says, Earth's not flat, Earth's not flat, Earth's not flat, Earth's not flat, Earth's not flat. Okay, so thank you for the super chat, Sensual Goat. He's paraphrasing or repeating the chanting from another one of the videos that was called Globe Earth, Belief is Painful, Not for the Faint of Heart, which was another time that took about 45 minutes with the person. But some of the stuff that they had said to me was so vicious that I had to hack out massive chunks of it because it wouldn't have made the YouTube censors. Yeah? Even though the stuff was directed at me rather than me saying it, doesn't make any difference to YouTube. They just hear some of the vicious stuff that they were saying. And some of it was beyond the pale. But it had to get all hacked out, so it ended up being about half the length with the tame stuff that they were saying. Or the tame stuff. Let's just put it that way. Left in.
Yeah, that was Mr. Chicken Wing lifting his 20-pound dumbbells.
And chanting, Earth's not flat, Earth's not flat, Earth's not flat. Literally chanting.
And that proves it's a ball by saying it. All you got to do is say it a lot, and then it's not a ball, or then it's a ball.
Somebody said rhetoric, and speaking of that, I watched a video y'all were reviewing with Red Rhetoric and some other guys that were anti-globers, and I mean, this guy Red Rhetoric, I mean, he's the loudest, most articulating, word enunciating, dynamic voice, sarcastic, pain in the butt to hear somebody speak so clearly, making a fool of themselves. It was just like, it was comical. Like, he doesn't, I don't know if he knows what he's saying is self-incriminating. I don't even know. It's so much, he sounds so confident. It's the way you want your child to speak, or someone that's shy to speak in front of an audience, but not saying the wrong thing or making a complete fool of yourself. He'd be better off he'd be better off mumbling or not enunciating his words and running off like that and speak faster. He speaks slowly and clearly.
Yeah, he's very confident in his ignorance.
Yeah, he's like, I am an idiot. IDIOT, idiot. Oh, this is amazing.
It's not easy to go against confidence if you're not sure or you don't understand something.
I thrive in that environment.
That's where you thrive, did you say, QE?
Yep.
Yeah, but we're not typical people, I don't think, either, because we're in this subject. I think most people don't.
Fake confidence is probably caught in the first 2 or 3 seconds, then it's your ass. Not your ass, but in the general, the royal your ass.
Yeah.
You're thinking of my ass again?
He's thinking about numpty pretender clowns.
Red's Pretenderic is he's top 5 on that list.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't come here.
Mr. Bloviated Confidence. He's like the Baltard's Witsit.
Was he the sloped
That's
flat?
a good comparison. Holy shoot.
No,
Baltard's Witsit.
Which you can't understand a lot what he says. It's like he just goes, well, it's a bit, but this guy, Red,
Sorry.
speaks slowly.
But
I don't
Reds is
think
the
that's
guy
what
that come up.
QE's talking about.
One more time, John.
Red's rhetoric is the one that come up with the tilted shelf, wasn't he? Like the shelf
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit him with the wall, chocolate.
Then you got to explain slope to them, and then they look confused at you.
Yeah, well, we'll respond to something else tomorrow. So, Red's Rhetoric was the last one that came out, I think, on the second channel. Subscribe today if you want to catch up with the Uncut and After shows, i.e. what we record before and after the live show, as along with the live show. But I release those to the public about a week after they come out to members. So once the live show's finished, it'll go to members only, Uncut and After show, and then a week later you can watch it for free on the second channel. So there's a link underneath this live stream if you are watching live, or obviously if you're watching after the fact, just go into the information box. And yeah, click on the link to my second channel and just go and subscribe. Alternatively, you can support the channel by becoming a member, and then you get to watch all of these clips early. All of the videos get released immediately to members as soon as they're rendered, and then I'll make thumbnails and put the info in and all the rest of it. But it just means that as a member, you get to see them as soon as they're finished, rather than when they're looking pretty and ready for public consumption in thumbnail type and things like that. Check it out. Become a member.
No. Man, speaking of Red's Pretenderic, he like on the main circuit still? What's he doing? I don't see him anywhere.
We covered him about 2 or 3 weeks ago, doing a debate with somebody, but yeah, I think he still occasionally does videos. He's just, for whatever reason, he's not scummy enough to be promoted in the algorithm as an anti-flat earther. So he got suppressed along with us when that happened. For whatever reason, he didn't make the cut. Instead, Dave McKeegan's like his replacement.
He's not on the regular circuit or anything, is he?
What is the regular circuit, though? The regular circuit's what you get presented if you type in Flat Earth to a search on YouTube. And what you'll get is Dave McKeegan, Professor Dave, Simon Dan. You won't get Reds.
Huh.
Yeah, Reds contradicts heliocentric rhetoric more than we do.
I don't know.
You had Reds on with Witsit Simp. Is that the one you're talking about?
I can't remember. It was a while back, like more than a day or two.
Yes, QE.
You said it was the guy with a beard. Who was that guy?
The Witsit Simp.
Yeah, that he didn't catch. He's got to be as dumb as all get out. They pretend like they're intellectuals, but they miss the most obvious things. Reds charged him with asking him a question. This is just one I can remember off the top of my head. Reds charged him with asking a question with a question, but Reds did it right before he did it, and he didn't catch on to it. And Mr. What the heck is his name? The Witsit Simp. Saint Pooper, Saint Pierre, something, Saint Pooper, who knows? He's Mr. Geometry
You're
and
talking
Mr.
about,
Technicality.
Shane St. Pierre.
Shane St.
Yeah,
Pierre.
that's him. Yeah, that's him. He works in the background with idiot Witsit. The guy doesn't even know what a triangle is. He let Reds just buffalo him right through that whole thing. Didn't even catch it. Get the hell out of here. Or I slap you, you half a sissy.
Yeah, Red was talking about you have to measure the altitude of the star. And the guy was like, but that's how you get the angle.
Yeah, but that's the standard current anti-flat Earth rhetoric when dealing with celestial navigation. is to strawman the flat earther and say, you've got to give me the height of the star, even though when I utilize this angle from the center of hell, I'll be utilizing an infinite distance to the celestial sphere that I can't give you an answer in a globe rhetoric, but you must give it to me because it's nothing to do with celestial navigation and takes us away on a nice red herring.
Now, all the wits that Simp had to do, other than he doesn't know what a triangle is, but Red's point, if I can remember this correctly, and I think I can, was that Reds thought that he could get the distance to Polaris, right? So why didn't, hey, St. Pierre, why don't you just hold his feet to the fire and say, okay, we got this 55-degree angle to Polaris, and we know the distance to the GP. Give us the distance to Polaris, Mr. Treg. That's all you had to do, and he was compromised.
What?
It would have been over.
No. I've seen him play that playbook. Play from that playbook. What he would do in that instance is he would give you the distance, but then insist that you would need to insert R, like he did in the smokescreen design video. Do you remember when smokescreen responded to him? What he's responding to is that exact measurement off a flat Earth, then converted into sphericity with R.
Nope, he couldn't do that. Not with that specific topic that he was talking about.
Why?
No,
Why not?
R had nothing to do.
Why not?
Say again?
Why couldn't he just insert R
had
after
nothing
the fact?
to do with it. It was specifically on the distance. It was specifically trig with Polaris. Specifically. Nothing to do with R.
I'm saying, couldn't he insert R after making the angle, getting the angle measurement flat, and then inserting R to the equation like he did with the moon?
No, he couldn't. It was out of context. No. Pull the video back up. Let's do it again.
No. Let's not. If you're saying no, I'll accept that. I just don't understand why.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
No, let's not. No, let's not, because that means I've got to go and find it. No. It's fine. We can just accept that, yes, he can't do it. It's out of context without me understanding it. That's fine. That's fine.
Just hold Rex feet to the fire. That's all he had to do. Just, okay, go ahead. What's the distance?
Yeah, still get
better be 433 light years too, Reds, or I'm going to rip your lungs to your, you know what. That's all he had to do. It would have been over. How long was the actual video? Like, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours?
Yeah.
Get over in 2 minutes. Idiots.
Sad thing is, even if it come out to that number, they still need a flat Earth to get the angle. So it ain't doing them no good. You know.
You think it come out to 433 light years for the opposite side of the triangle? Really? I'd like to see that one.
It won't.
No, I didn't say I think it would. I said even if it did, it wouldn't do them no good.
Yeah, I heard you the first time, but it isn't coming out 433 light years. Just hold his feet to the fire. We're just getting off topic. Just hold his feet to the fire right there. I don't know. Do you like to hear yourself talk and then to train wreck yourself to anyone that's listening that could fog a mirror? That's what you guys are banking on. Most people can't fog a mirror. I understand. When you hang around Witsit subscribers, you know, the Globe Dumpster subscribers that he subsumed from Bob. Yeah, they're dumber than a bag of hammers. That's why you get away with this stupid shit. Yeah, bring that on over here, meat. We'll see how long you last.
You talking to that St. Pierre guy?
I'm talking to St. Pierre or anybody on the Winsett Gimp Simp side. You like to hear yourselves talk, is what the problem is. I'm going to put an end to that. Quick.
Whoever's drinking Witsit breast milk, he's addressing you.
I'm going to leave you with that just pump the neighbor's cat look on your face.
Yeah, we're going to get some of that, by the way. So that's the, I don't know if you want to call it a downside, but there's plenty of people who have come that are leaving comments alluding to the idea of ether. And why would it be that you're not talking about this amazing thing called ether? And you're like, okay. So it's attracting people back from the flat earth community that have presumably deserted us in the past because they've been poisoned against us. They see a video with a good hook, watch it, and they're like, have you heard of the wonderful word of ether? You're like, yeah, you're new here, aren't you?
Yeah, but
like the gentleman yesterday. I'll tell you what, he took that well. Even though he was a new flat earther and he was spouting all the headlines, you know, he really took it well. He knew when his goose was cooked, which was quick. So, what was his name?
what was the guy yesterday? We covered him. I should remember his name. It's Angel something or other. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Angels of Light,
Yeah.
maybe? Angels?
Yes.
Yeah. Him. Yep.
He's thrown himself into the deep end, so he's out debating, and he wants to refine his argument, and he's come to the right place. And what QE is saying is the guy had a high degree of humility, so he's prepared to present his claim as he accepts and understands it is a good claim to present. And then the moment it's ripped to shreds, he's not rumpusing or disagreeing, he's just presenting how he understood it. Again, not rinsing and repeating, just trying his best to address the points that have been criticised. And then once it's been concluded, we would move on. Like, it was a breath of fresh air. That also got noted by people in the comments. It's really nice to see somebody that can just hear their argument taken apart and not roll their eyes. Just, again, thank the person that's explained the fault in their flaw in their argument.
Well, you know why? Because
What?
Angels of Light isn't irrationally, emotionally tied to his argument.
He just wants to argue and win, I would assume. He wants to
Yeah, but he's
overcome.
not emotionally attached. You could tell very easily. You could tell when people are not emotionally attached to their arguments. It's very easy. And he is the poster child.
Because they
So
accept.
if you are emotionally attached to your arguments, irrationally so, you need to be frontal lobotomized.
That's what's
Just to
going
let
on with
you know.
the final experiment. They're trying to garner emotional attachment to maps and models and false dichotomies, so that once they're overcome, presumably that's the end game, people will falter. They'll relinquish their original belief in dismay and just move on with something else, because they've become emotionally attached to a particular aspect of an argument, like an azimuthal equidistant projection of a flat Earth that they've paid $5 to have on their app.
They ain't the only ones. There's a lot of there's a lot of people close that are also emotionally attached. And by the way, you can tell that somebody's emotionally attached within the first 5 seconds. You're not fooling anyone. You might not even be aware of it, but it's like a friggin' bullhorn going off. Just to let you know. Okay.
Speaking of that, and a good listen to, hearing Nathan shred, it was one morning show, and the guy seemed to be esoteric. He seemed to be not into beliefs. He was talking with Deck and Neil, and like usual, Nathan's getting his show together. And then Nathan asked him a question, and he couldn't answer it, but he tried to act like he was indifferent about the shape of Earth, or whether it's a sphere or not. And his argument was we couldn't tell. But every time he said that, he kept on leaning on the heliocentric side. Nathan sniffed it out and smelled it. I even commented on about it. Said Nathan's like me. You could just read it, like you said, QE. Give him about 5. In this case, he gave the guy 20 minutes to talk, and then he just got wailed by Nathan.
Actually, we'd
The little
already.
boy, everything.
You may not realise this, Dee, but we'd already encountered him once before. So he was actually on QE's show the day before, and QE had invited him along specifically. It was the same guy, QE, the guy that ended up getting trimmed out because he was like, well, of course we measure it flat. It's flat enough for us to deal with Earth with some accuracy. That's how flat it is, or something like that.
Was that the doofus EMBO?
I think it might have been. No, maybe. I can't remember his name.
Yes. And
The
both.
localized plane guy.
What?
He also claims gases have a downward vector, and that's why containers are unnecessary. He's not right in the head.
Yeah, he's all over the place. He's all over the place.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Did I hear something from the Irish?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yesterday. All in my hand is this. He doesn't even probably have much communication with it. But because of with it, pumping out this nonsense on TikTok and other places so much, what's after happening is he's getting second-hand witted information from people who are telling him that this is all stuff. Because they're told by Witted, or giving the impression by Witted and Zachary Zabala, that it's all solid stuff.
Oh, brother.
And that's why he phoned up yesterday. Had much communication with him because he's just getting it second hand. I mean, for instance, right?
Hey, Brian, your mic's chopping.
No,
We got the gist,
You-
Brian,
did
but
you
you're
get
breaking
that?
up a bit too much now. You were 80% chopping, and now you're 50% chopping, or the other way around.
He'll get it figured out. When are you gonna close this out real quick?
You've got that habit of killing all potential for any extension to the live show, haven't you, QE? Well done.
No, I don't. You don't. You project that horse shit onto me. I just want you to shout out my show.
Oh, okay. We can do that anyway. We can do that right now. So be here or be sphere for Quantum Eraser Live. Public can join on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel, 7 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. Central Standard. Be here or be sphere.
You don't have to worry about being politically correct over there. Okay?
What?
I said you, as in the royal you, not just you. Don't have to worry about being politically correct because I don't stand for that bullshit at all.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Shout out to Goldie McKiernan, who's gifted a membership, and shout out to Roger, who picked it up for free. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for all your nice comments as well. Just one more thing, sorry. Thank you for all your
the political campaign you were talking about just like 10 minutes ago with D Rose leading the charge.
No idea. What are you talking
in
about?
that vein.
Anybody know what QE's talking about? Shout outs again to Goldie.
The Christians changed the show. They wanted you to keep it friendly. That's what he's talking about.
Is that
Keep it
being-
friendly.
Yeah,
I have
that
no
was-
problems. I have no problems with keeping it friendly, but if you come here pretender clowning, you come bellying up to the bar as a pretender clown, you're going to get your ass ripped up,
Oh,
as you should.
Are you
If you
suggesting
don't,
that? Hold on.
QE's the
Hold on.
truth.
Everyone stop. Stop. Just need to get this squared away. Are you suggesting that my inference that a fact Christians did approach me and take the time to explain how detrimental it was, that could be perceived as politically giving quarter to people if they're doing something they shouldn't? Is that what you're suggesting that might have inferred?
I'm not suggesting it. That was aired as it was. I'm not suggesting you take it like that. No.
Still don't know what he's talking
Is
about.
there something in the Bible that states that you have to speak without swear words?
Yes, thou shalt not swear at thy balleth opponent.
I take it I'm coming in okay now then, am I?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Just do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though you are.
Finish what I was saying.
Even though you are, I'm going to do a shout out for Roger Ledwell. So I'll just take the chat off the screen. Shout out to Roger Ledwell. He says, should I ask Duffy for the pitch data, gentlemen? Yes.
Official pitch data, not just pitch data. Official pitch data. That's what you need. Not just pitch data.
Okay,
Thanks.
okay, I'm going to round
Roger.
up my thanks because people are giving me money and I really want to thank them. Thank you again to Roger Ledwell. He says, he lives right down the street from me. Oh, okay. Don't dox him. Yeah, don't tell us where you live, Roger, now you've said that. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to hit him up, just give him a, obviously don't just turn up on his doorstep, but, you know, hit him up and say, I'd like to talk to you about something specific because you've got this antipodal assumption that you're going to need to verify. And, you know, our very kind members of the Flat Earth debate team, one in particular named Brian, has pointed this out to you. You know, you need to back that antipodal assumption with something, and pitch data would do it, given there's a journey involved and it's part of the process. I also want to say another quick thank you to Goldie for all her lovely comments about the recent videos. Thank you very much, Goldie. I really appreciate it. I read all of them. Anyway, that's it. I'm done now. Brian, go ahead.
Brian, bullshit, Brian. Roger was giving you a jab. You didn't even catch it. Not shocking surprise. And we'll get to Brian in a second. I come across some really ironic information that, remember that this, what is this, Duffy is his name?
Yeah, Will Duffy.
Yeah, his story was that his pastor died all of a sudden, right? And wasn't he out in Colorado, Will Duffy, when this happened? Is that true? Yeah.
I don't bloody know. What are you asking me?
I think a little birdie let it loose that pastor that died that he wanted to take the place of was none other than Bob Enyart. Anyone know that name?
Yes, that is a familiar name. I don't know why it's a
Bob
familiar name.
Nodell?
Bob Enyart, he said.
Enyart.
Enyart.
Bob Enyart
Oh.
of
Yes,
Bob
that is a familiar
Enyart
name.
Live.
Just trying to cue his question to keep his point going. I don't know why it's a familiar name, but yes, I have heard that name before.
Yes, I did a treatment on him because he was against the flat earth, number one. Number two, I used to frequent his radio show back in the day. And his boss was the one that had the website that booted me off the Evotard site for being a flat earther. That's number two or number three. Number four, I did a treatment on, I think it's on the Numpty clips of Bob Enyart Live with Jack Horner, Barry Schweitzer's PhD thesis advisor. And Bob and Jack Horner was the production expert for all the Jurassic Park movies. This
Mary
has a little.
Hold on, just for context for the audience. Mary Schweitzer's your hostile witness, isn't she?
Hostile witness. Yeah, I drug her around by her short hairs a few times. Yeah.
But there's a few things that she says that aren't congruent with their own rhetoric that you use her for as a hostile witness, unless I'm thinking of someone else. Correct?
Yeah, she was with the dino soft tissue. But
yes, that's what I'm referring to.
Yep. So this has some all kind of twisted webs connected to each other. I just wanted to bring that up because somebody mentioned Duffy today, and that's why it triggered me. All right, Brian, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Can't talk now.
Yeah. I figured.
What a small world, QE.
Hold on. Shout out to Roger Ledwell. He says, "You said not to dox him. I've already met him." No. What I mean by dox is revealing his public documents to this audience. That's what I mean by dox. Like, don't give out his address. That's what I'm saying. Unless I'm missing something.
His address is not a public document. That didn't make any damn sense.
It would be making it a public document, wouldn't it? That's what docs means. Anyway, it's making something public, like people's addresses. Anyway, who cares? Thank you for the super chats, moreover, Roger. Really appreciate it.
And just to go back to the pitch data right quick. What is pitch in reference to?
Horizontal plane of reference, sea level.
Official pitch data. Didn't you see it, Brian?
Way to completely ruin John's point.
Guys, I'll tell you what. I would like to add a comment to the shows that you're doing on Omi. Is that Omi TV? Yeah, that's. Like I said, I asked you yesterday, is that exclusively to Britain? Because I haven't seen any Americans on there, number one. Number two, the most powerful argument that you have and the most quick to the point revelation is the vacuum of space argument. Have you got that feeling?
Yes.
Thus far?
Agreed.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let's just break something down because this is something else that I get in the comments. Wouldn't it be more efficient to insert coherent explanation, valid, here? Yes, that's absolutely correct. I could go straight to the vacuum of space. That isn't my objective, though. Yeah?
I didn't say that. I didn't say you just to go directly to it. I'm just saying that you shouldn't leave it. That should be maybe a finish-up argument, but as long as it's part of it, I think it's a major part.
I want that for the end because it is the most effective by miles, by a country mile. If I'm in person, when I've workmen round, if I'm going to broach this subject in person, face to face, so there's a few criteria. I don't want them to punch you in the face because they're so angry, right? But the vacuum of space argument is perfect. If you watch this show and you're like, what should I take away from this? If I'm ever going to broach it at a party, which would it be? Which housekeeping question? Should I bring up the molten iron core? Should I bring up the curvature that we don't have? Should I bring up the Coriolis? No. Every time, without question, the clincher is always going to be there's no sky vacuum. It's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. It's so cut and dry, it's so quick and swift. But I want that at the end. I want them to put their hand in front of their face and gasp. Literally, I want them to gasp.
It's always been my favorite.
It's powerful. It comes over on the video powerfully, right? There's no way out. It's quick. It's so all encompassing, and it's childlike simplicity is. I think it's genuine. I think it's cowbell. I think it's the pinnacle.
All right, we got the point.
Shut up, Mr. List.
Wait a
How
second.
dare you, D. Rose? What an outrage. Did you hear that from D?
It was a good one, D.
I'm sorry, D. Was QE using a few too many superfluous words there, was he?
And he called me Mr. Lift. Oh my God. I bet you I sound like I got
Hold on a second. Let's get back to this. It's always been number one. Always. And will always be number one.
Yep. For me, it is.
No.
What are we speaking in reference to?
We're talking about gas filling space. Whoever's got the horrible noisy microphone. We've got the gas filled space argument. Now, just to piss all over Neil's bonfire there. No, it's not the number one argument if you're talking about flat Earth specifically, because it doesn't affirm or deny anything. It debunks the vacuum of space, which is a crucial aspect of a heliocentric religion. Excuse me. That you're trying to undermine when you come up with that argument. You're trying to overcome their idea of the base foundation for the heliocentric model when you undermine it with the gas of we're breathing and it filling the available volume.
No, not model. No. That has nothing to do with it.
You stand right next to me and talk about your angles, and I'll drop a gas pressure out containment, and we'll see who has more success.
Depends on your context. It's not success.
It comes down to what the common individual you meet has the most experience with, and with gas pressure, everybody knows they need a container for it.
Yeah,
that's very true and you kill three birds with one stone, because even though you mentioned the second law of thermodynamics, and most of them will go like, oh, no, never heard of that, Mike. And then you say, well, you heard of entropy. Oh, no, never heard of that, Mike. Well, you know about gas pressure, right? It's like, yeah, you have to have a container. Then they put it all together, and they learn two new words, and that basically just seals the deal. No pun intended.
No, it doesn't. If I just did that, nobody would appreciate that we've got a flat plane beneath our feet that we're measuring. It's incomplete in terms of the actual argument that we're presenting. It's the best for me to end on. I just need to do a couple of quick shout-outs. Another shout-out to Roger Ledwell. He's talking in context of Will Duffy being local to him. He says he wanted me to present at his church a case for FE. Okay, fair enough. Thanks for the super chat. And once more, thanks again to Roger Ledwell, smashing the super chat hard and fast. He says, Neil, I got the membership. Aha. You got the free membership out of Goldie.
Yeah, and on the
I didn't get it.
Thanks, Neil.
Oh, Nathan, back to you. I don't think they still get the elevation angle measurements from the plane surface. I don't really get the. I don't think that rings a bell as much, because it's, I think the complexity of the mathematics, unless they took up geometry, but you speak to a lot of, baked heads on there that are, either baked or getting baked.
Who's got their mic bloody wide open? John, you're causing audio chaos for some reason. Are you scratching your mic over the top of this conversation or what? Bloody hell.
No, he's got his phone out.
But you're doing it now, John. Every time you open your mic, it's audio chaos. I don't know what you're doing, but it's not good.
He's got his phone out the window as he's driving.
Oh yeah, just hold the mic wide open in front of the wind. Anyway, it's fine when he starts talking. There's just something wrong with his connection. Anyway, that distracted things completely. No, I see the gas pressure as a crescendo to get a gasp out of somebody when they realise that their Earth is measured flat. But you're suggesting that it's too complex to go through celestial navigation and latitude alignment on a globe Earth compared to a series of circles of equal elevation. Yeah, that is too complicated for everybody I've put it to on OME. That's not the point. I just need to get their attention long enough to say it in a video that goes before the audience of 26,000 people, D. The fact that they can't comprehend it is just enough for me to then say, well, let me tell you something else. Space is fake. Gas fills space. And then end the video.
Got you.
I think the way you do it is okay. I mean, you go with the latitude. You don't really get into triangles and stuff. So I think it's okay.
It's enough to have them think that they're following along for long enough for me to say it, for the audience to understand it if they understand it, or not if they don't, and then move on. I'm not trying to educate one-to-one. It's like some of the commenters made, I'm going to be honest, these are from baltards. They phrase things to me on a video they're watching, because they're dumb, about how I'm not succeeding on a one-to-one level with the person in the video. Do you think you've converted this individual? You're like, you're amongst 1,000 of the viewers that have just watched that conversation, dum-dum. You think it's for him as an individual, do you, Dumbo? Missing the point much?
Yeah, that's true.
That wasn't directed at you, although you... Oh, Neil.
I'm just saying.
Go on. He's roboting.
Sorry.
It's all right.
You're roboting.
Is my mic any better?
Yes, much better.
Oh yeah, way better. It doesn't sound like.
Okay, now put the phone outside the window again.
No, it was just that phone. I had to switch devices.
No, it's much better now.
However,
It's
Nathan.
Not constant wind noise.
However, Nathan, elevation angle measurements would work with somebody like the university guy, somebody who is a kind of scholastic academic type of person, and who's not like Weathers, Matthew, whatever his name is, and kind of listens as you explain and teach the listening audience. No,
that guy that he had on, he was a full-on pretender clown. The one that was university guy, pretender clown. He was just making shit up, pulling words out that he didn't know the meanings of. They were out of context. Was he the same guy that brought up that the surface changed the action of a bullet or something?
No, that's a different guy. D Rose is referring to the guy that was like a black square.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't see his face.
Oh, carry on. I didn't see that one.
Yes, I said that earlier. The guy that you're referring to, QE, was pulling things out of his ass. That is, I hate to say it because I like the guy, right? But that's Dunning-Kruger, isn't it? You've got a limited knowledge to pull from, and you pull from it in an instant and start spurting it, but you don't. Even he's saying, I can't really remember this stuff. I'll be honest, I edited out some of the stuff that made him look worse. When he's like, my dad would have been here telling me how to do this, and I'd have got it right. You're like, God, that makes you look awful. So I just hacked that out because I thought, no, there's no point in demeaning the guy because he's basically in a state of Dunning-Kruger. He's fishing for anything in his brain that he can use to overcome this painful reality that he's facing in that moment. What these videos do, this is something I must drop in. It really does give you that first moment that you probably can't remember. That moment when someone else told you Earth was flat and you went, oh my God. Even if you braced against it initially, there's always going to be that moment. And almost every one of those OME videos captures that moment for each individual that I'm talking to. It doesn't matter if they comprehend elevation angles to Polaris. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that one or of 5, let's say, points that's put to them clicks. And I've got a whole arsenal of them. We're the ones sharpening up these tools, right? So I just look along the bench and go, that tool's probably the right one for this scenario. I use it. Does it draw blood? No, it didn't. Let's pick up another one. And you just wait till you do. And eventually they go, oh, what? No, it's got to be a ball. It's got to be a ball. It's got to... That's the moment I'm looking for, isn't it? But for you, the audience, you go, I remember that moment. That, oh my God moment. I'm capturing it. That's why I think people like these videos.
Yes.
Hey, Nathan, if you don't mind me asking, how much views do you get from them, though?
Lots. They are the YouTube channel has increased its video views over the month by 20,000 in the last 5 days. TikTok's increased the video views by about 40,000, which is considerably more proportionally improved. Let's just put it that way. I've got something like 1,100 subs over on TikTok. So to go from videos getting 100, 200, if they're really popular, in my view, 1,000, like I'd get on YouTube, to getting 32,000 views, you're like, oh my God, what's going on? 5,000 views, you're like, oh wow, this video's done really well. And it's been like that with all of these clips on TikTok. People seem to like them. And the response in the comments from YouTube has been absolutely overwhelming. Everybody likes them. And the numpties that you get in the detractor videos, it's like, it's the responses from our opponents are embarrassing. So I'll leave them all up so you can see them all in the comment section. But it's triggering the ballers in a way that I've not seen before. They don't know what the hell to do. So most of them are just saying, he's talking to kids. Like, okay.
It's really pathetic, because I'll say something complimentary to Nathan, but I'll be vague. I may say pronouns like you, them, and these idiots get on there and say, I know Nathan does it, and then I'll do an editing. I said, hey, brick brain or whatever, I was speaking about Nathan, or I'll just rephrase it all together. But it lures them in because they're hoping that somebody, they probably don't recognize my tag name, but I'm actually complimenting Nathan, like save the children from the lies or whatever complimentary. And they'll come in and they'll try to ride on that and say, I know Nathan, da, da, da. And then I'll come back right after that and edit it.
I gotcha. I wondered what you were doing. So just for the audience's benefit, underneath the comments, what
Just
D Rose
luring
has
them
been
in.
doing is preemptively, in a vague way, making a comment that's semi-condoning and semi-endorsing what I'm doing in a way that he knows the opponent's going to do. Brian's also expressed his concerns about this, to give him props in this regard. But what then happens is the baller opponent will take the bait below D Rose's comment and then get the sharp end of his tongue. So it's just, I don't know, I appreciate it, dear. That's why I've laboured it on this live show, because yeah, it's noteworthy how low they must sink to try and attack what's currently going on.
Sorry to cut in there, gentlemen. Sorry to cut in there, gentlemen. Jin CBR1 here. Sorry to cut in. Nathan, what is your feelings on Susanna Wojcinski, who died the other day at the age of 56? You know, she was the CEO of YouTube. She was the one that was messing with the algorithms and that. What's your feelings on that?
How sad. I knew that had happened. I didn't think I'd be asked to comment on it. I mean, any death that's at that sort of age is pretty tragic, regardless of what she did as a CEO of YouTube. Another quick shout out to Roger Ledwell. Duffy wants to make a fool of me in the long run, he says from the super chat. Thank you for all these super chats, Duffy. I just called you Duffy, Roger. Thank you for all these Will Duffy super chats, Roger Ledwell. Get that right. 102 people watching. Woohoo! Why'd you ask?
You can't hold that against her either. Congress enforced a rule upon them about censorship. They didn't have a decision to make as far as that went.
Yep, that's correct. Whenever I phrase that, whenever I talk about that, I talk about what Congress did, not what YouTube did.
Well, from the clip of the actual congressional meeting with YouTube, it seemed like it was YouTube that was explaining to a congressman why they must do this, that, and the other. And the congressman just basically gave a list of the different conspiracy videos that give misinformation and have to restrict their content, and uses Flat Earth as an example.
Yeah,
but it was her.
That's it. That's the bit that needs focusing on. That's the bit that's relevant. He gave a list of conspiracies and said, what are you going to do about these then?
And yeah, that's right. And she was very obliging in responding as to what they had planned, especially for the Flat Earth community. There was, and content producers like yourselves and that, they were saying that they were going to change the algorithms and make it like Flat Earth is not flat videos. It's what she said.
Yeah, preferred content. So Dave McKeegan, Professor Dave Explains, Simon Dan, they get the searches that rightly would go out evenly to anybody who's got the most popular content. Well, no. If you search for this subject, what you find is the preferred content that Congress has told YouTube they must supply the audience with. That's why Dave McKeegan gets a bazillion views. Anybody looking for this subject are automatically directed to him and his cohorts by decree of Congress.
Now let's look at this too. What year was that congressional meeting?
That's
2020
some
or
communist
2020?
shit.
17,
Listen,
18.
Neil.
No, it's much earlier than that.
When was it?
Yeah,
It was much earlier than 2020.
Late 2017, early 2018, roughly.
Okay. And you think the FE had enough impression for that to even be considered? Was it it was a bigger threat back then because it was like this new phenomena all over the internet. But I think they were preparing for what was to come and why the censorship escalated.
Right. Again, sorry to cut you there. Basically, flat Earth was being researched or hit on the YouTube more so than Donald Trump on his campaign trail. Flat Earth overtook Donald Trump. Okay, well there you go.
Gotcha.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
Well, we had a reference to you earlier.
Hit him with the wall, chocolate.
That's a fact.
The thing is, the flat Earth wasn't actually being put forward then. The Feast of Nonsense has always been what's been put forward.
Correct.
To this very day.
Chocolate got Jedi mind tricked by that wall, didn't he?
Hit him with the composition fallacy.
Yeah, I have no idea what y'all talking about.
I've been acquitted of those charges.
Just for the audience's benefit, because it's going to get confusing quickly. For chocolate, hitting with the wall is the idea of a shelf being level. And we were talking about red rhetoric earlier, just for your benefit, chocolate. Hopefully you'll offer enough context to the audience now with that information.
No, he won't. He's too scared.
What are you talking about?
I don't know what's got into him.
Nathan got that completely wrong as usual.
Oh, here we go.
That had nothing to do with a shelf. It was the wall, flat wall. What the hell are you talking about?
Oh, brother.
Does QE have to explain this?
Chocolate, why is your hand up?
It has been explained. People just aren't listening.
It was explained earlier on the show, but we're not going to get context. This has become a crapshoot of people asking why their hands are up in G+ and not answering. QE's gone totally silent, even though it's him that should be really offering context, as it was his point about Reds. But that's not going to happen either, by the looks.
See, I knew chocolate was white. Put your hand up again.
I would like to know what the wall situation was, because I thought it was a shelf that wasn't leveled or something like that.
Wall, I'll go ahead and tell you, the wall is not flat. The wall is vertical. When you're talking about the wall the wall's surface in relation to that plane of reference, you can say it's flat. So that's the point. You have to recontextualize flat to be able to say the wall is flat.
Brian?
Or know that you're talking about a wall. So obviously not talking about a horizontal, right?
When you use the term flat,
Understand that.
if you just use the term flat, you are also talking about horizontal as to lay flat.
Well,
so we're not describing a surface then. So we're not describing a surface.
All right. Well, can we agree to this? That when you a wall has to be leveled.
Bro, so if I'm going to level wall, so we're gonna do this again, right? So if I'm
a wall is plumbed, okay? First of all, a wall is plumbed. Level is not plumbed. Do you all understand that?
Flat,
before we move on.
Flat. We're talking
about. Yes, Mr. Refractive.
I'd say the wall is level. That's flat.
No, it's plumb. Level is horizontal. Jesus.
Surface can be flat. Tell him why, Mr. Refractive. because plumb is perpendicular.
Right, there's 3
to
people
flat.
trying to get in on this action, D. You realise that? It's become it's become
I want to jump in
inaudible
and make
now.
it 4.
And now there's 4 people, while I'm talking no less, trying to get charge of it. Apocryphon, I'm trying to get charge of 3 other people who want to get in on this action. Do you, Apocryphon, want to argue that a plumb wall is flat?
No, I would say a plumb. Well, the surface of it can be, but technically in the trade, when you say it's plumb, that just means it's vertical, and it could be level in that vertical state. So that is true. But typically, when you say something's level and flat, you're talking about it being horizontal. Typically, like that's just the normal. But I guess they're just talking about semantics. I don't know.
Chocolate, you're not allowed to describe the wall as flat. Just stop it. You're not allowed.
No, Brian.
Flat is reality.
That'll be 4 people that aren't chocolate. Bloody hell.
All right. So, according to Brian, I'm not allowed to say a wall that's flat is flat. I have to describe it as plumb. Is that what you're saying?
The surface of the wall, the surface of the wall is flat. The wall itself is plumb. It's vertical.
But
It
if
is
I'm
not flat.
right, but if I'm talking about a wall, if I'm talking about a wall, obviously I'm describing the surface, not what's going on inside the wall or how the wall is set. I'm just talking about the surface of the damn wall.
Did you just ignore everything I said and repeat yourself?
No, but that's a good point.
Hey,
Neil,
John,
let's
you
just try that. It's
Stop
only the
it.
4th time I've had to
It's
rein you
not a
guys
good
in.
point.
Right, let's just try
Yes,
D
it
Rose and Neil. No colour commentary necessary when I'm trying to stop 4 people having the same conversation. Definitely don't need colour commentary.
I promise you, it's not color commentary.
That was colour commentary. This
is.
is colour commentary. Take the hint. Chocolate, and maybe Brian will be rumpusing. We'll see. Go ahead, Refracted.
Adam will set him straight.
Oh my god. I'll have to rein QE into in a minute. That'll be even more difficult.
You had to rein me in. Adam was trying to speak, and you friggin' rumpused him.
We started this crap.
You did,
No,
Chocolate.
I
You
didn't,
did.
but I was acquitted. I was acquitted of those charges.
I don't know about that.
Right. I think we'll all agree that it's most important that John goes. Go ahead, Refracted. Fine.
I don't think it matters what I say. It'll just be repeated anyway. You have to recontextualize flat and take it to a different frame of reference than what you have as a human being to describe the wall as flat.
Can I come in there then? So I would agree with that point. But as a human being that's lived on the planet for such an amount of time, the second you add the word wall, and I know you're talking about a wall, I don't go and look at the top of it.
Did you just say planet?
Yeah,
So-
and we don't live on a planet.
Can
we
you
don't live
stop
on a
with the
planet.
bleeding colour commentary and majoring on the bleeding minors?
Okay.
That's not a minor when you say we lived on a planet so long.
I've been drinking all afternoon. I've been drinking all afternoon, and you lot think a wall can't be flat, you bunch of
and
retards.
Speaking as an engineer, John is correct. John is correct. When you're talking about the wall could be crooked. So you have to reference the surface of the wall. You have to. Otherwise, it's not correct. And he's talking as an engineer himself, so he would know. Thank you.
The reference is to have been a cognizant human being, right? And be able to engage with people and put together a sentence and not go and look at the top of the wall, know what he's talking about, because he's put it into context by saying this wall.
Thank you.
You don't have to realign any plane of reference as a human being when somebody says that to you.
But in reality,
laying down.
Oh my God.
Right,
So
we're
the
going to get,
wall
let's
is
just get some
flat.
order. Stop, everyone stop.
No.
Chocolate, hold on. We're going to go Chocolate, then Apocryphon, then John. Chocolate, go ahead.
And then me.
Then D.
Okay, John, do you understand what Adam just said? Like, do you understand? Like,
Yes,
when I say wall, obviously I'm talking about the surface of the wall, right?
right.
So I'm
You're speaking
obviously
in a colloquial, you're using a colloquial use of flat, I guess, where we understand that, a perpendicular is a straight line, that we could describe its surface as flat. Yes. Yes. People do have that cognitive ability to colloquialize, but when you get down to the meanings of words, you're saying it wrong. You realize that.
I'm saying as using the word flat to describe the surface of the wall is wrong. If I'm
No, using flat to describe the wall is wrong because it's vertical.
Yeah, and flat
Over
and level. What's that?
horizontal, flat, and level are all synonymous because they are all axiomatically tied.
Okay, everyone stop for a sec.
Straight line.
Okay, we got that. Apocryphon, go ahead. Then D.
So like
Then Brian.
I do want to make mention like John's right. So like let's say framers, right, have built a wall that they're going to put in place, but let's say it's leaning up against another wall. And if your boss tells you, "Hey, grab that wall, right, that they framed out and lay it flat." They're not going to stand it up. They're going to lay it down because that's what flat means. So like even though that wall was tilted because it's going to be put in place, but let's say they're going to take a break and they don't want it to fall while they're gone. So the boss goes, "Hey, lay that wall flat." They're not going to erect it vertically and plumb it up and put it in place.
Yes.
They're going to lay it down on the ground.
Yeah,
So,
likewise, if you said, what are you going to do with that wonky old wall? Well, we're going to flatten it. Oh, well, that obviously means you're going to plaster it perfectly. No, flattening something would be knocking it down. Anyway, D, I think it was next. Was it D?
Yeah, I'd like to get in there as well, please.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah,
D,
yeah. Basically, I was saying I agree refractly with John with the recontextualize the word because you look at Bev, who says the Earth's not flat, and then we start arguing about this and horizontal, yada yada yada. And what Chocolate's saying is the surface. So if you even do a micro look at the wall, it's not really flat, Bev. It does have little topographical variants. So colloquially, like what John is saying, and like what Apocrypha is saying about being a framer, you have to be careful how to use that word because when you use it in this context of a conversation about the Earth's surface versus the wall's surface, then you can't argue with Chocolate and say he's wrong because you know what he's talking about. But then John is saying you have to be careful because when you speak outside of this topic of conversation as an engineer or a plasterer, like Apocrypha is saying, no, you don't say those things. You say lay the wall flat so that nobody can, it won't fall on anybody. So I understand what both sides are saying. So, that's
I
all I
don't
got
think
to
you
say.
do.
I don't think they do either because I was about to go to you next, Adam. Go ahead.
Well, you're missing the point. If we're in a flat earth debate, yeah, fine. Get yourself orientated properly. Lay it out. But when you're having a conversation with another person, right, don't turn into this tool. And when you're talking about a wall, you're, oh, which way did you actually, it's not flat. Yeah. It's a little bit geeky, isn't it? It's a little bit overkill as a human being. You don't need to contextualize it in a normal human being conversation, which is where that flat wall come up. You don't have to pull somebody up like that. You just sound like a flat earth knobhead.
Right, I'll give you a better.
Sorry. No, I was
just
talking
everyone
about
stop a
an
sec.
engineer or anybody.
Everyone stop just for a sec. Just want to reiterate what Adam's saying with a slightly different example so people can appreciate what this colloquialism is necessary for to stop you looking like a dick. So you've got your wall built in your new house. The plasterer comes round and lays all the plaster over your nicely vertical walls that are perfectly vertical. You go up to the plasterer after he's finished the job and you say, "Did you get it nice and flat?" And he says, "Yeah, I did." You go, "Great. What does he mean?" He means it's all perfectly smooth and flat on the vertical surface, colloquially speaking. Now, if that plasterer turned around and gave you the wonk eye and went, I think you mean, did I get it all verticalized? You'd think wanker, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Or you'd be like,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly
He said
exactly
all
that.
plumb, but he said all plumb.
Nathan, exactly. The
I think we should
plasterer
have
says
6 people,
flat and
maybe
smooth,
7
the
talking at
plasterer.
once. We'll just go with Jin, who was next in line.
Sorry, I was just agreeing with exactly what you said, that the plasterer definitely says it's flat and smooth and flat. That's what they do. I've done it myself, so I know. Thank you.
Fine. John, refracted.
Yeah. The whole idea that you bring it up that way, yeah, you would be a knob. But that ain't what happened, guys. Y'all's the one that brought it up. I was dealing with it.
Fine.
I don't care. I understand what you mean.
Fine.
Like, what are you
I'll now
talking
reiterate
about?
your point. Yes. What John is saying is we can and must and do talk in a colloquial manner in general terms when we're out and about doing our thing as normies. When we are in the debate, we are not talking in colloquial terms. Quite the contrary. We must and do use hyperspecificity, shout out to D-Rose, in terms of our vernacular. We must be hyperspecific when we are defining what these terms mean. Flat means something, level means something, horizontal means something. And it doesn't mean bleeding vertical in this debate.
Would someone please get the definition of flat?
So thank you for making my point. I appreciate that.
Neil.
In the UK, it's a
Yeah,
small
there are
apartment.
26. There are 26 definitions of flat, by the way. 26
Hold on, Jin.
in
Just one second,
the
Jin. We'll come back to you. Go ahead, Neil.
I think it's very important that we stop using the phrase planet. It does not sound good. This is the third time I caught you, Adam.
Are you telling Adam off? Really?
Adam said he's drunk. Give him a break.
Who cares?
No excuse. 3 times he said it. Adam, do you have secret information? Is Brenda telling the truth?
Are we all okay with Neil pulling rank like this? Is this cool by everybody? What's going on?
I'm more than happy for Neil to take me to task.
To tell Adam that who clearly knows we're not on a planet to not say the word planet.
Hold on. Not necessarily chocolate.
This is the third time he's done it.
Hold on. We've
This
dangled.
is the third time he's done it, and Brenda claims that she has secret information. I just want to know.
Okay, so as far as I'm aware, once, Neil. But okay. I'm happy for you to cite where the second and third time was.
Second and third time was when we were just hanging out after the show.
I think this is a perfect opportunity for the ballers to appreciate just what a little nugget Adam's dangled out for him. Like me with a discussion with Anthony Riley over Skype that was accidentally leaked to the public during a live show, where I dissuade him from using the, quote, globe proof that was perfect. I think I actually said it the other way around. Perfect globe proof. That I didn't want Anthony Riley to put out into the ether. Trying to trigger as many people as possible, clearly.
Oh, brother.
Words are out today.
You said ether.
I've not finished defending myself.
Go ahead, Adam. Everyone else shut up. Adam, go ahead.
So, I admit the word did slip, Neil, once. In actually a colloquial phrase, if you were to listen to what I said. Yeah. So that's my apologetics for it. Not that I should have to, but if that's raised your suspicions against me and colluding with Brenda in secret conversations, then you just keep on sniffing, Bloodhound.
Adam, you don't have to explain that nonsense. You say planet, I understand exactly what you mean. It's like,
well, it was in the phrase of on my life on this planet into you know what I mean? That's because it was a frustration at listening to the inability to just know that wall over there is flat. So done a lovely job. Done a lovely job. It's not flat. It's flat in reference to a horizontal and perpendicular to a horizontal. I mean, imagine saying that to someone. That was the frustration. But, Neil, you keep your ears peeled on me, son.
All he said to his wife was, that piece of halibut was possibly the best piece of halibut in the entire globe. Stone him! Stone him!
Blasphemer!
I'm only breaking your balls, Adam. You know that.
I like you keeping me sharp, Neil. I appreciate it, brother.
I don't. You should have gone through QE first. You're going to be
Neil's taking notes.
reprimanded for
Exactly.
insubordination.
You poorly.
Hey, chocolate.
All in all, it's just another brick in the wall.
Sounds like chocolate.
Chocolate's got a weak mic today. It's not your fault, Chocolate. It's just your mic's a bit weak. That's all. Go ahead, Chocolate. Then one deck.
No, I'm good, man. As long as we've got all this flat wall situated, I'm good.
Chocolate, can I ask you a question?
You can after one deck.
Are the
You can after one deck. Go ahead, one deck.
I thought I was in the queue.
There's a couple of things. I just said, all in all, it's just another brick in the wall. But actually, I'm going to be driving past a friend of mine's in a minute, and he's a plasterer. And guess what his company's called? I'll send you the picture.
Okay. Well, we'll let Brian
Flat
go.
walls.
He can give us a stream of wrongness, I'm sure. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I will. Chocolate, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Because you're getting a hard time here. Are the synonyms of a word the definition of the word? Or is the definition of the word the definition of the word?
The definition would be the definition.
So just because something is a synonym of that word, does that mean that that is also the definition of the word?
No.
Right.
Obviously not, but is
Hold on, John. Whoa. Hello, stop. Go ahead, Brian. You carry on.
So the definition of flat then wouldn't be horizontal or level. They'd be only synonyms of flat.
Yes.
And what is the definition of flat?
Not having any part higher or lower than the other.
This is
level. That's level. Sorry, that's not the definition of flat.
Brian's leading this conversation.
but it's a
Everyone else,
definition.
stop.
There are 26
Everyone else,
definitions.
stop.
Hello?
Stop. Brian is leading this clearly. Let him.
Right. I was trying to help him.
He doesn't need.
Well,
Trust me, Brian don't need help. Trust me.
Well, if somebody wants to get the definition of flat.
I'll read it. Having a level surface without raised.
That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say. There are 26 definitions of flat. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I know. I know.
Can we look up
also my
definition
point.
of synonym?
That's also the point. There's so many different definitions of flat because flat is used to describe so many different things. Flat is chiefly a descriptor.
Hold on. But we're in context. What is the definition of flat within the subject matter we are discussing?
Oh, well, that would be used as an
And is it
adverb.
appropriate?
Let me answer you.
It's
Let me just answer you. That would be used as an adverb. So it would be in or to a horizontal position. Flat. That's how we would use it contextually.
Are there not walls on a flat Earth?
Yep, you missed it again. Why? I don't even know why I even bother saying it.
Well, the way Chocolate was saying was the surface. When you run your hands across it, or when you put a level on it, because I put levels on walls, if it's leveled, whether it's plumb, perpendicular to the horizontal floor leveled, it still falls in the same category. So we're being pedantic. We're all being buttholes.
That's outside the context of how the word is used in this discussion. Nobody's saying they can run their hand across Earth, are they?
No, but it is part of the synonyms for that adverb. So to be in or to a horizontal position, the example being he was lying flat on his back, it also has amongst the synonyms, yeah? Where is it? Just give me 10 seconds.
He had his back flat against the wall.
Something like that.
Right. You had to redefine flat and invoke the wall as the plane of reference in that sentence. So you're changing your plane of reference. Again,
no, I didn't
you
change
have to
anything.
recontextualize.
Everyone stop. John's point.
Hello.
Hello. Let me just reiterate John's point. It's getting rumpus. Refracted's point is to say that within the framework of the sentence, when you say I'm leaning flat up against the wall, you've recontextualized that orientation to mean the wall within the sentence.
By using the word wall,
Yes.
as opposed to using the word floor, which I never used, right? So again, all I have to do to assert what I'm saying is describe what I'm talking about, which is a wall.
Fine.
Everybody knows if a wall's lying flat on the floor, it's not really a wall unless it's a wall that I took down. Like, do I have to have that entire conversation? Or can I just say that this wall over here that I'm looking at is flat?
I want Brian, then Jin, please.
Yeah. The problem is that, and this is, I'm going to shout out Bev here because he's correct. In reality, nothing is two-dimensional. So flat can only be a description because there is no flat. Because there isn't two dimensions. In reality, there's three.
Yes, sir.
Jin, hold on. Go ahead, Jin.
Oh, yeah, no, I've said what I wanted to say. Thank you very much. I relinquish the rest of my time to anybody who wants it. Thank you.
Are we falling into the category error that Bev has been arguing about the Earth's not being flat? Are we kind of like concurring with that in a way when you talk about what you just said? Who closed that? What they said? 3-dimensional,
No.
2-dimensional?
No.
Not at
No.
all.
No.
Because
Okay.
my point to him was that flat is only a descriptor of a surface. That was my point to him.
Right.
He was saying there can't be flat because it's not because we don't have a two-dimensional world. I said, yeah, but flat is a description.
A description of something that doesn't exist? Is that what it is?
You know what? That's why I like the point of the term sea level, and they don't say measured by sea flat. They go sea level because level covers it all. There's no argument.
But if you look across the water, like in Titanic, and he says it was flat like a mill pond, doesn't he?
I
gotta
obviously
go
think
go
of
back and watch
vertical.
the movie.
I obviously think of walls when someone says that, don't I?
I just think of a surface.
Brian's point's the overarching one because he's got the main point, which is there's 20-odd definitions for the word flat. You can be using it to describe what a note does. You can be describing someone's affect with it. There's a lot of things that can be used as that description. But where we are here, John Righteous refracted curvature has the overarching point because here we're hyper-specific about what we're talking about. But flat becomes too loose, I think, is Brian's overarching point. You need to be more specific. If you're going to talk about what we're defining, you talk about level, you talk about horizontal.
All right. Are there any flat surfaces?
Have you ever dated a flat-chested girl?
Just kneel, then chocolate. Stop. Everyone stop. Kneel, then chocolate, then D.
Are there any flat surfaces on a planet?
No. Chocolate.
Okay. When this conversation first came up, right? What I was basically doing was asking because we were being specific about the word flat. But then I said, wait a minute, can I not describe this wall over here as flat? And I was told I was wrong for that.
In this topic, with our hyperspecificity, saying that is wrong. Why do I have to keep saying that? If you are talking about the orientation with respect to the earth, that is wrong.
Yeah, but
he's not talking about the wall.
I'm not doing that. I'm just talking about
All the other conversation did not matter.
Right, this is contextual. Like when you use the word theory, you don't want to be that dick that's talking about experimenting on a BMX track as not being scientifically validated because it's contextualized incorrectly. We do have colloquial uses for some of these words. Brian's overarching point that flat isn't necessarily the best word, but it's a perfect description of something. Now, you can recontextualize that description, as John Refracted Curvature is saying, by giving context to the thing that you're describing as flat with reference to its surface. But then you're recontextualizing what we would, with hyperspecificity, be using that word to describe. Obviously, it's a flat earth debate. Do we mean the bleeding world's vertical? No, we do not. We do have a specific set context for that word, and it is meeting its own definition in that context. But it can be distorted because it's got so many. So it isn't necessarily the best term. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean you can't use it colloquially for something that isn't contextually right within our arena specifically. Is there anything else about flat that we need to discuss? This was a great conversation. I'm glad we stayed live.
Yeah, sorry about that, Neil.
Yeah.
But sorry, Nathan. Yeah, it was me that said that there was more than about 26 definitions of flat, and it was in the Webster's dictionary when you look it up. Okay, 26 different definitions.
Yeah, but that was going to be my point.
That was Brian's point. I was clearing the airwaves for him.
I made that point a long time ago. That was going to be my point, but you stepped in and decided to take the glory.
Okay, right. Three of us, me, Jin, and Brian, all had the dictionary. I'll just stop. We all had the dictionary open. We were all right, like minds. That's all that is. However, Brian's the one he was the one who inserted it into the discussion, in spite of both you and me both having that dictionary page open with all the definitions reading down them. Brian was the one who injected it, so he gets the credit. Sorry, Jin.
Yeah, because he asked synonym versus definition, something like
anyway,
that.
Right. Stop. Before we all start patting each other on the back how wonderful we are, was there anything else about flat? If not, I'm going to round out the live show and ask everyone to stay tuned if they're watching on an after show.
Yeah, my back garden has concrete in it.
Brian, then John.
Kind of flat. Yeah, my back garden has concrete in it. It has concrete all around it, and it's kind of flat.
Well, thank you, Brian. I'll send some Irishmen around. Oh, is that racist where you are?
Right. Well, if you're going to have a discussion about any topic, you can't take it out of topic to try to make your point and think you have a valid point. That would be a category error.
Wouldn't it be
so someone's going to make a category error.
I thought that'd be an equivocation fallacy. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, but the problem is that if you say Earth is flat, right, then to go by what you're claiming, John, and what you're stating, it means that you're claiming that it's horizontal and two-dimensional. It's not. That's why flat is the best way to describe it, because it's a description of a surface. The overall surface, as an overall, flat is the best way to describe it. It doesn't have any particular shape.
Right. Mean sea level is two-dimensional. Sea level is two-dimensional. We experience those things, but you say it's not.
Not two-dimensional, because the surface of the water won't be two-dimensional.
So what is its so what is a levels vector in the z-axis?
In the what's the z-axis is vertical. Why asking me? I thought you were talking about sea level.
Yeah. Is there any, or is it zero? So it's non-existent.
Yeah, but
so it is two-dimensional.
Well, no, mathematically it is, but in reality it's not. I mean,
no, in reality it doesn't go. Yeah, it doesn't have a third dimension. It's level's two-dimensional.
Level, but sea level. If you know about sea level, then no matter what way you work it, if you're talking about the surface of the water at all, if you're talking about mathematically sea level as the average of all the tides, then as a mathematical term, mathematically you're describing two dimensions. It's just a straight two-dimensional line.
No, you're confused about the concepts we're using. Mathematically, you would use horizontal.
Yeah,
we're just talking about experience. Level is two-dimensional.
Just before we go on, just one thing, Brian and John. But that comports with one of the definitions of flat. Again, back to in or to a horizontal position. You're comporting with that definition when you say flat.
Within the topic, it is extremely refined and to the point.
Yep.
But everybody's wanting to pee on it for some reason. I don't get it.
And I don't know if everyone's wanting to pee on it.
Not really,
There's a lot of nuance to this subject and word by virtue of it having all of these different definitions and the nuance of the subject itself. This is a definite. I don't think anyone's trying to piss on it, John.
No, it's just that in reality, if we're going to use the term flat to describe that in reality, then we are only using it as to describe, because nothing in reality is two-dimensional, which is what Bebb's argument is. Right? Except for he doesn't want it. Except for well, just 1 second, John. Except for he wants to be pedantic until you start bringing up like things like the surface of water is not two-dimensional. Then he wants to say that, oh, that's just ridiculous. Yes, he's okay being pedantic. The surface, like he says, you can't call Earth flat because Earth's not two-dimensional. But he started that stuff because he never looked at the definitions of flat. That's why.
Right, but you're talking about what he tries to make the argument to is topology with respect to that flat plane. But it's still that flat plane that which you have to describe that topology, because the Earth is made up of topology, but topology is not the entire Earth.
Yeah, but his point is even on the surface of water. Like, I mean, if you're talking about that flat plane, you're talking about mean sea level, that's a mathematical position. Whereas what he's talking about is the Earth itself and everything on it, right? No matter what it is, water or anything, nothing lays flat. Right, that was his argument. But not realizing that flat is a descriptor of a surface. So we can describe the surface of the ocean as flat if it's somewhat calm. Do you know what I mean? We can describe the surface of Earth to be flat on the bigger scale.
But we
So if you look at the horizon, and by definition, it is horizontal, unless you want to throw your entire epistemology out the window. For this argument, is the horizon flat?
Yeah, that meets the definition of flat.
Yeah, but...
so we experience a two-dimensional... now we're lost, because you're saying we don't experience two dimensions, but the horizon fits into that description.
But if you zoom towards the horizon, it's not going to be... You're going to see undulations on the water. Like, as an overall, when we see it optically, to us it appears two-dimensional.
So you can zoom in on the horizon and see waves, then you're not seeing the horizon if you're seeing waves blocking the horizon.
Yeah, but as I said,
you can't zoom up.
As I said, as a whole, but you can zoom towards a point on the horizon. You can do that, but the point is still part of the horizon. Still part of it.
No, once you bring it in, once you bring the resolution back, it is no longer. So no.
But there you go.
Yes, he's got a good point. Round out on that. Right, he's got a good point. If you're talking about the horizon, you're talking about an optical dissolution point. If you're bringing the resolution of the waves back, then you're not looking at an optical dissolution point. Therefore, it's not the horizon. He is correct. But we will discuss this nuance further in the after show. With that, I was saying, if you are watching on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then do stay tuned. As I say, there will be an after show to follow.
Like Anthony used to do.
Troublemaker.
Yeah, but Anthony got us pretty sharpened up on what the horizon is. You know what I mean? Coming around with that nonsense.
Where's he been, Anthony?
He's around. He's just not on the show.
Anthony's not coming back.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Anthony's fine. He's just not on the show. And that's not because he's got anything against the show.
There was another guy, Rebel Warrior or something like that. Somebody.
That's Sleeping Warrior. It's the same person.
Is QE there? Because I need to ask him something before I say it. Yeah, well, did any hear any of Globebusters there tonight?
I'll be back in a few minutes.
I haven't. Why? What happened?
Negative.
Well, we were talking chiefly about the Nickebein. It's at Nickebein, the Nazi targeting system that used horizontal. Basically, this targeting system targeted a Rolls-Royce factory in the UK, in southern England, I think. That was it was making parts for planes and different things, that engines for planes. And they targeted this Rolls-Royce factory like to the on the button. Like there was no like shooting near it. They obliterated it, right? Supposedly. And it was with this system called the Nickaboin system, I think is the name of it. And the distance is 450, was it 450 miles was the distance. And what it is they have crossing beams. So they send 3 different beams, and where they cross is exactly where I think if I get it right, is exactly where, let's say, the factory was. And they had airplanes, and they had like receivers in the airplanes, and when they get over the point where the beams were crossing, that would be the point to drop the bombs on the factory. Because they couldn't see it, they were just basically they were flying blind, following this system. And the whole point was that there were 3 or 4 crossing beams that were line of sight. That means from high locations in Germany, they were able to shoot 450 miles with total accuracy. And when this was brought up, prior to that, Germany using it, a couple of years before that, it was brought up by, brought up by people working with Churchill. And they said, no, that can't happen because the curvature of a globe would get in the way of it, blah, blah, blah. And it didn't, right? Now, this has been covered before or whatever, but that was the gist of it, that the beam divergence was only like 400 yards or something like that. So that was the amount of divergence, that maximum divergence at that distance was 400 yards. So for those 3 beams, the maximum divergence of all 3 together as a whole one would be 1,200 yards, right, at 450 miles. But that's all fine. But then, like, Whitsitt was saying, he's going to, that's going to be his new go-to thing and new go-to proof. And, Ben Taboo Conspiracy has been talking about this the past year or whatever, maybe since late last year. But then he turns around and says, ether physics. Like, what are you going on about? Like, what? And then I have timestamps. I gave him the QE. He starts saying, they start giving out about him and your man Zachary Zabala. Start talking about other people who are making stuff up, like globers and heliocentric stuff, making stuff up, and how they just pull it out of their backside, basically, talk as if it's real, this kind of stuff. And it's just like, that's what you do. That's what you do.
Ether?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it was the most projection I ever heard. It was unbelievable. Ether physics. What the hell is that as well? He's been using that recently as well.
Yeah, because Brian, they're trying to make ether physical.
Yeah, but they'd have to show it then.
Thank you.
It's the non-physical physics,
Quantum physics.
Quantum physics.
It's real imagination, man. Real imagination.
Before the show started, we were talking about like biblical stuff, and then I had made mention how in the 1800, the book written back in 1800, the Strong Concordance, I was just making mention how it actually it mentions the ether in it, and that was understood from the word Shayim Shama, which is for heaven, and it's like it talks about how like that's where the stars are rotating above us. So like we were talking about like how people say, well, the Bible doesn't talk about flat Earth and stuff, but actually, like even in Strong Concordance, like they redefine it that way. So that was interesting. Just made me like think about you guys too, because it mentions ether, like how controversial that would be here.
There are about 5 different types of ether. You got the luminiferous ether.
Which reminds me too, I'm surprised you guys didn't cover like yesterday, because usually you guys like go through it kind of with the fine tooth comb on all the things that are said. But yesterday on Modern Day Debate, Witsit debated Daryl, and McToon actually made a response video to that, and is like, "Wow, like Witsit's throwing Flat Earth under the bus." Or is Witsit throwing Flat Earth under the bus? Because Witsit's whole thing during the Modern Day Debate was in regards to like
Geocentrism,
geocentrism.
right?
So, yeah, it was geocentrism. So
Yeah,
they're
he's a
like, "Oh, so
geocentrist.
yeah."
Well, the reason that McToon is saying that is because of his belief that the celestial sphere model's diagram, which isn't a model, it's a diagram, is what the globe is. And if you're going to put that in a geosynchronous position, he thinks that you're claiming the Earth is a globe.
No, I think he's saying it because he's getting it. I'm not saying that's wrong, but he is getting it. He's getting it from us because we've been pointing out that every time Witsit does talk about this, he talks about a geocentric globe and ether. That's basically what he talks about. And I heard him mentioning very recently. I'm not sure if it wasn't last Sunday. I'm not sure if it was last Sunday's or the week beforehand, but very recently he's mentioned how I could go on. I might go on, if I go on to Candace Owens or something show, but I might be called a shill. It's like he's throwing it out there that he might be going on to Candace Owens show. It's like that's the very thing I did not want to happen. I didn't want him going on to that show because all he's going to do is talk about a geocentric globe and ether, and that's all he's going to talk about.
Freaking knew he was going to get there first.
Well,
let him. He fits more. Yeah, he fits more into the design makeup of how this argument is perceived argument is supposed to work. He puts forward a false claim tied to a statement of fact, debunk the false claim, and then somehow the statement of fact is wrong. And that's how this topic goes.
He's preaching that all over the place.
You guys have heard of the axis of evils, right? In regards to when they took that, like they just pretty much mapped out the universe. That's what they did, and then they turned it into a ball. Did you guys see that documentary, The Principle?
Yeah, when you look at that ball, though, those are what they've done is they've taken angle measurements, converted it to the celestial sphere, and then flattened it out on a sheet of paper, and it made that X. Did you see that?
Yeah. Well, here's what I was gonna do. Yeah, they fanned it out, and then that guy, I guess he just mathematically he turned it into a ball, and then he said, "Oh, look it's the ball like of our, of our universe." But check this out. I had this one guy who's really good with what's that program they use where they could like manipulate and they create stuff like 3D. What's it called? I forgot what it's called. But he can take a sphere.
AutoCAD?
No. What's the one that they like? Arma always uses it. They use it to like create the globe and the moon. Like they always use it to demonstrate their model. I forgot the program. But here's what I wanted to point out. I'm gonna post 2 photos here. It's interesting because I forgot the name of it. But here, I'll put it in the main text chat. But I had him flatten out the axis of evil. And and it's interesting because if you look at the photo I posted, the second one is when you go to that one website and they show the weather patterns on like the AE map where they pretty much flattened it, and then how it makes everything look like really like it makes it look right, like everything's like going in a circle as far as the temperature of the earth, and then it just looks really weird when you put it in a globe, like all the winds all going crazy and backwards, and it doesn't make sense. But then when you flatten it out, it makes sense. So anyways, I did that for the axis of evil too. I took that ball, I had him actually do it, and when he found it out, I'm like, oh, check that out. So like this would be, imagine everywhere on Earth that where we can have access to, and then just take a photo of the sky from above you, then it kind of created like you can see like the above, if you will, and that's like the way it would look above, and then that's why I put below and then above. But it was really interesting that axis of evil flattened out. But that's what I had him do. Did you guys see it?
Are you talking about going to a place beyond the stars to take a picture of the Earth and stars?
No. I'm saying from if you were to take their data that they said they gathered from the sky, and they just took a photo of all the sky, right? And they said they did it from everywhere, so from technically from above everywhere. But I'm saying if they did the same thing, but on the planar Earth, and they just took a photo of the sky and got what they call a microcosmic background. But if you did that on the planar Earth, and then when you map it, it looks really cool to see how it kind of resembles that weather one that they have, where they show like the way the weather is on the Earth, like the temperatures.
Right.
But then when you flatten it out, that's the picture on the bottom.
Right, but if you're talking about data like that, what measurements were they taking? What is the data? It's all
Honestly,
doesn't involve distances. Go on, John. Sorry.
Honestly, I just remembered they were saying that they just pretty much took snapshots of the what is it, of the cosmic, the microcosmic or radiation background. Something like that. I forgot exactly what they said. But pretty much they just took shots of the sky, pretty much, and then they
it's the cosmic.
These.
It's the cosmic microwave background, and those are incident angles of light on the microwave wavelength of light. Those are incident angles that they've measured from specific points on Earth.
Well, let's see how they did it first. Let's see how they did it first. Who's making this claim?
I am. I'm talking about it. I was the one that brought it up.
Who's I?
Pakistan.
So the first thing would probably be good if you're making a claim about this is get the actual phrase right. It's called the cosmic microwave background radiation. That would probably be. I would probably, focus in on that so you don't look like a moron. Second of all,
I know I forgot the name.
Second of all, how did they get these? Did you say pictures? Really? How'd they do that?
Apparently, they said that they took the photos with satellites.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They didn't take any photographs. You don't know much about this topic, do you?
No. I'm trying to remember. I watched it. It was they did a whole documentary on it, and they were talking about it. It just really filled, and that was about last year sometime or earlier this year. I totally forgot. I'll be completely honest with you. I totally forgot what it was talking about.
Who are they?
The guys in the documentary called The Principal.
Oh God! Yeah. So Babylon Bob.
Sungenis.
Yeah, Robert Sungenis. His name is affectionately Babylon Bob.
Friends of Witted.
Yeah, apparently Babylon hasn't read Revelation 17 yet. I wouldn't go into the cosmic microwave background radiation from the principal or anything from Babylon Bob. Just don't go there. There's no photographs.
Friends of Witsit. I heard that, Brian. That was a good one.
And if you go back on my channel long enough, the first presentation I've ever done, the first presentation way before I was a flat earther, was debunking the cosmic microwave background radiation and redshift back in 2008. I put it on video not that long ago. You'll have a good time trying to find it on my channel, since YouTube has disabled the search function. Thanks, YouTube. Friggin' communist.
Wait, did you say that you debunked this before flat Earth?
I didn't. I was doing presentations. I personally didn't. I went and researched the topic, and it was mainly Professor Robitaille and what's his name? God, he likes the Outlaws. Me and him, we hit it off because he liked the Outlaws. He's
Carruthers.
Yeah, Stephen Carruthers. Yeah, of a number of other things I researched, and I put it all together and presented it.
Hello.
Oh, I know that name.
Hey, sorry about that, Kiwi. I literally got a phone call from my doctor like right when you started talking.
That's okay.
My apologies.
You want me to say it again?
I'm doing a.
You want me to say it again?
They're doing a. Okay, go ahead.
Do you want me to say it again?
Yeah, if you will. I'm sorry because I missed all of it because right when you started going into it, my doctor called. They're going to do a sleep study on me, so they're doing the schedule. But my bad.
I thought it was a sex change operation that you getting follow up on.
I was gonna get a what do they call it? Add a dick to me.
Too funny. Nah, I would stay away from the cosmic microwave background radiation. It's a joke. Essentially, what they got was, well, they said they got it. First of all, they went into a fairy tale vacuum of space. That ain't happening with Kobe and Toby Fierce and the Planck satellite and WMAP. Right. So
right.
That's not good.
No, I totally get what you're saying. I don't believe that they can ever obviously go into that fake Narnia place, but I would like think like what if they this is kind of my thought here. What if they did get that but from just like high altitude whatever vessel that they just put up and they just took snapshots from every position across our earth, like from everywhere. Just like what if they were able to do that, but they had the money to do it and they did it and they're like, okay, now we can map out the universe. But of course they're saying they took it from, like these things orbiting a sphere. Obviously that's nonsense, but what if they're just going across the table taking photos of the ceiling and then they're like, oh, look at it. So and then they made it, like they made it flat and they go like, here's our whole universe, it's all over or whatever. But and then the guy in the principal documentary, he like constructed it to a sphere. So, like, in other words, he's saying that they created a sphere around Earth, I guess. But then when I had this one guy do using that software, he flattened it the same way you would take a globe and make it flat to make like the AE map. And and if you look at it when he did that using their same data, it just looks pretty cool in that photo that I posted because then it makes it makes it look uniform. And then if you could just picture that above us, above, the if you have the Antarctic wall going around us and like everything above the earth as we are continents in water, which is level and, horizontally flat, obviously. But I was just saying like, that's a pretty cool photo to have. Like if that using what they did, but I totally get what you're saying though. Like, no, they're not taking satellite a million miles away from Earth in a vacuum, taking photos all around us. Like, no, I totally agree with that. That's nonsense.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to get at what data did they actually give in that show? They didn't. They never give any data. They just showed a circle, a flat, an oblong circle like an egg, and had an X on it. That's all the information you got. And they said that was the sky.
Right. Yeah, that I posted the egg looking one, and they're like, "Look at this is that CMB, the cosmetic."
Right, but that's not data. That's not data. That's
Hold on, John. Did you say cosmetic?
Yeah, that's why I just shut myself up. Like I'm just gonna listen to QE and just not say it anymore. Cosmic, I don't know. I still don't remember it. I always forget it. And you just told me.
Yeah. Just say the CMB, man. Sorry, John. Good.
There you go, CMB.
Yeah, they didn't. Right, but when you appealed to data, they didn't give any data for that crap. They showed that egg picture, and that's it. They never once described how they got their measurements, or they always went to Narnia.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use it
If
either.
I remember,
It's
if
kind
I
of like,
remember correctly, in the documentary, I think they said that they gathered the images. I think they called them like captures or yeah, something like that from their. I forgot. I gotta watch it again. So I could. Oh, he posted it. Jin
was
posted
it the
it in
telescope
the.
that they had leveled? The telescopes they had
Yeah.
really well leveled. You know, they flattened it out
Yeah.
real good, so that flat earthers wouldn't have nothing to complain about.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can see them taking like just shots from Earth, like even if they went up in the sky with it, because I know that they have this like we've all seen the photo of that one jet that they like they say, oh, that's the real James Webb telescope, whatever. It's just a jet with a huge pretty much telescope in it. And
No. That was Sophia with the Hubble telescope. Have you been
that's what it
drinking?
was. That's what it is. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's early. Yeah, Sophia, you're right. The James,
I know. I
the
know.
James
You're
Webb is
just
the different
worried.
one, the newer one. I'm
You're
sorry,
just
man.
worried about. You're just worried about the sex change operation. I understand.
It's 5 o'clock
I've been
somewhere,
running
by
on
God.
It's
about 2 hours of sleep for the past 3 days.
I don't think Apocryphon heard you, John. Tell him again.
I said it's 5 o'clock somewhere, by God.
That is hilarious. It's not funny, Apocryphon. That's a jab at you. You've been backslid.
I know, I got it. I hear it. But yeah, you're right. It was the Hubble telescope, the Sophia. Yeah. So it's obviously that they have the means to take whatever equipment they want to shoot the sky with, but they can do it from high elevation. But it doesn't mean that they have to put something and put it in a fictitious place that they call space.
Yeah, that's where it
Right,
dies. That's where it dies. All the rest of it is barely palpable background noise. They're just gathering microwave information. In fact, what they actually got was the microwave emissions from the oceans. That's what they got. That's what it boiled down to. It was a real belly laugher.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Have you ever gone through that on a show, Kiwi?
It makes total sense.
Yeah, I did. It's on my channel. It's if you look it up, you can't look it up on my channel because, like I said, shout out to YouTube. Thanks. That really helped out a lot. Just look up CMB and Redshift under just Quantum Eraser. I don't even know. Why don't I should probably try to do it, right?
No, you should do that presentation someday for us.
No, that's I'm not doing that again. Nope.
I think that's a no, Brian.
Yeah, that's a hard
Yeah,
no.
I got that, Nathan. Yeah, just absolutely no. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I still would like to know what instruments they use to get the measurements of the oceans.
Well, I think Kobe Fierce had a horn.
A horn?
Yeah, it was a horn apparatus. Go look up Kobe Fierce. COBE-FIRAS and educate your dumb ass.
Now, I was trying to lead you somewhere, but never mind.
Yeah, any other show? Go on.
Don't believe me. I will not be led. I shall not be pawed at.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you then. There's a coordinate system they're going to use, which is a Cartesian plane that will be horizontal for every single measurement they take to claim this bullshit.
Specifically the CMB bullshit, right?
Yeah, it's not
pretty much any measurement you can take. Any measurement you can take. Must be.
I actually found a list of what all they use. You want to hear it? They use a microwave radiometer, a self-bow telescope, absolute radiometer from cosmology, astrophysics, and diffusion mission, or they call it ARCADE for short. And then the cosmic background imager, a CBAI, which is out in Chile. One's in Chile, one's in, they say, the Antarctica, and then I don't know where the others were set up. But those are the things that they use, the instruments, if you will.
Yeah, and those instruments are always measuring either an incident angle or a length with respect to a horizontal plane. Always.
Yeah, I can't find it. Damn communists.
Getting worse, too. Getting harder to find things.
On my own damn channel. Can't find it. It's there somewhere.
Is it also on globeterminator.com?
I don't put YouTube.
Was that one of the shows you put out when you were on a?
When I was on a what?
Remember the guy's name? But you used to go on his show and give the presentations.
Texas.
I think it started with a P. His name. I can't
The Texas. I may have
found Texas. I'm sorry.
I can't remember whether I did it on Texas or early in on Nathan's show. I can't recall. It's been too many years.
I found it for you. It's
Did you?
episode 6. Yeah, the way I find it is you got to defeat the algorithm. So when you search on YouTube, and I said this before too, all you have to do is just change it to upload date, and it's the first video. They tricked all of us. Like, they hide everything, but if you change your search to upload date, like, boom, it's the first one. And all I did was put quantum erasers CMB, and it's literally the first one. That's the workaround. The communist regime censoring everything.
It's a good job you've dedicated that to this recording so they can sort that out.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I know, right? Damn it! I just gave it away.
They know about it
They're gonna
now.
Nah, they're gonna go fix that real quick. Damn it!
What did you hit? Upload date? Where's that at?
I knew that. I just never told you that because it's never come up. But yes, that is correct. If you search by upload date, it will beat the algorithm that's censoring us to the bottom. But now I'll probably give it a week.
Where do you find upload date at? For the second
it's in
time.
filters. 3 dots on the top right. It's in filters if you're on a mobile device.
No, I'm not on a mobile device. Filters.
Okay, so like you're still you go to filters, and then you're gonna change it because it's always at relevance, and that's what gives the algorithm, like, feeds you the nonsense. So you change it to upload date.
I don't need a detailed explanation. Just tell me where and what.
Search filters, upload date. There you go.
Upload date. It has last hour today, this week, this month, this year.
Just put all time. It doesn't matter. Just like all time.
It doesn't have all time on here.
Okay.
Pick any of them.
Let me see.
Pick any of them. Do you put upload date in the search?
No. It just says sort by, and then I put upload date, and then type all upload date, anytime, duration, any, and then features I leave blank. All you do is literally just type in upload date and then go back. Once you do that, it resets it.
Upload date, and it doesn't give me any time.
Yeah. You just hit back. Once you click on upload date, then just hit back, and then it will regenerate it.
Hold on. Holy shit. So you type in the search engine, right? Quantum eraser.
Yeah, I put quantum eraser CMB, and then I hit search, and then the first thing that comes up was how the quantum eraser rewrites the past. But you don't pay attention to any of that. You just go to the search filters, just click upload date, and then hit back, and then it's gonna boom. You'll be the first. Matter of fact, you're the only video. Like you're the only video on that search.
Click
according to upload date.
That doesn't see. You're on your phone. It doesn't look like that on the desktop. We're back to where we started.
Oh, okay. Well, let me get my laptop and I'll help you out.
Start by upload date. You said.
Yeah.
No results found.
They're fixing this in real time, guys. Just as you all walk them through how to do it, they're changing it as you do it.
No, I got it. It worked that time. It worked that time. I got it.
Good.
Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't redshift. It was the speed of light in the CMB.
Yeah.
Are you saying it worked that time because you did it right that time? As opposed to wrong the first time?
Because under filters, it has upload date, type, duration, features, and then sort by, which he didn't mention, or if he did mention, I didn't hear him. And then it has upload date as a subcategory, and I hit that, and it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's under sort by. My bad. If I missed
right.
it.
Fair enough.
You know,
thanks.
You want to hear something they corrected in real time? It's kind of funny. So about a week ago, we were talking about, someone brought up, like the distances on the northern hemisphere are the same in the southern hemisphere because it's a ball. So they're saying like, it doesn't get wider according to longitude and latitude. And then so in real time, I search it and I drop in the coordinates. I was like at 52 north and 70 west, something like that. And then 52 south and 70 west. And I just went from 70 west to 71 west and then 70 west to 71 west, both on the north and the south. And there was a 5,000 feet or 1 mile difference. So then, and I tell that, I forgot what server I was in, but dude, I just did this in real time and there is a difference. It's not exactly the same. Literally 3 or 4 days later, I'm back talking to them about it again. And they're like, I just did it right now. And I literally went back and checked. They corrected it. Now it equals. I was like, oh, hell no. Someone went and reported or something because they changed it. And then one of the guys like, well, you had to zoom in. I'm like, no. I put exactly those coordinates. I didn't miss it. I wasn't, floating around it, but literally corrected in real time.
I had that happen to me for the first time in 2016. I pointed out to some borders when the first ever, let's say, classroom globe or globe was ever made, and the year and the date, and I got him the wiki reference and all this kind of stuff on some Hangout, and they were all arguing until I showed it to him, and then they had nothing to say because it was only a few hundred years ago, and the next time I went looking for it, it was all changed. Because you tell these people, they just are going to go contacting these websites, contacting Google, contacting whoever, and going to get it all changed around. That's what they do. And the algorithms are out there now looking for it. Go on.
They don't even hide it that they're doing that. They're proud of it. Yeah, they're proud of that. It's insane.
Yeah, they're literally hiding truth and proud of it. Crazy.
Oh crap! I only got a few minutes before my show. You all just gonna join into the show?
Sure.
Well, since Discord is horrible for me, it would be nice if Nathan just joined from here.
Yeah, I'll join up, Kiwi.
Yeah,
I won't be there for the full show, but I'll be there.
Oh, you're gonna stay for full.
Oh no, I gotta leave right now, guys. I forgot about that. I ain't got Discord downloaded on this tablet. I gotta go do that.
You can just join in. You could just join in with Nathan.
Yeah, can't Righteous just move us over into it?
Yeah,
no,
I can
just
do that.
stay put right here on
No,
G+.
because No, because what will happen is when Neil wants to talk, he'll have to ask Nathan to take him off of mute.
All right, later, guys. See you in a few.
See you in a few.
All right.
Do you guys want to move now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
move them
move us
over.
over there so that way
Can
we're all
you?
over there.
That would save me a job. Thank you very much, Righteous.
Be easier.
Yeah, you guys can stay in G Plus if you want to. I'll just hook up to QE show.
All right. Yeah, because I didn't have Discord downloaded on this tablet, on the tablet, and that's the phone. It sounded like I was driving in a car, I guess. So options are limited.
I'm still driving.
Yeah, you're the one.
1 more hour to go.
It sounds like I'm in a car.
I'm going over the Verrazano Bridge. Maybe I should measure it. You know, because it's
With
an
respect
inch
to what? Yeah.
higher. Well, a flat plane. But didn't they used to say that it was a few inches higher because of Earth curve or something? I remember early in the debate, the Verrazano Bridge demonstrated curvature.
Oh yeah, yeah. You measure the height with respect to horizontal plane on one side, and you measure the height with respect to a horizontal plane on the other side, and the horizontal plane disappears.
I corrected him on that years ago. Is that a suspension bridge? Does it have the stanchions, Neil? Does it have stanchions?
Yes.
Yeah, I corrected him on that years ago. I told him what that was about. These idiots, like it was Blue Marble Science and the rest of them. But 2016 again, inside some hangout, they didn't understand construction. How there's a reason why the stanchions have to be slightly off a level, off a plumb, is because of when the bridge has weight on it, it pulls them in. Do you understand? So that it doesn't, you don't end up with the bridge going having a dip in the center. It's all about construction. Remember looking at it and going, that's what it's about. I had to point it out to these idiots. Oh, that's our curve. It's not. The bridge has to be built. That particular type of bridge. That's how they build them.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of times those tensioner cables, you're not putting a downward vector with those tensioner cables. You're putting it, at an angle towards the ground. If you have that thing vertical, it'll pull it over. You have to put it out of vertical to be able for the tension to work.
Exactly. When the bridge is fully loaded with cars and trucks and everything, that, you know what I mean? They need to make sure that it's not dipping in the center. You know what I mean? It's stupid.
Yeah. But how would you ever figure out if something was out of plumb? You know what I mean? Like you need to have something that was actually plumb, and plumb can only exist with respect to level as a horizontal. It's just crazy. That religion is crazy.
Yeah, there's some stupid people over there. I mean that wouldn't take a whole lot of engineering understanding.
Can you see the bridge, Brian?
Flat out stupid.
Can you see the bridge?
I can't, Neil, yet.
That's it. I just proved Earth curve.
What bridge is this?
Verrazano. That's where the body's buried. The guy fell into the stone into the slab of one of the pillars. Don't you remember he told the story in oh shoot, hold on.
Are you in New York now? Like going over George Washington or something like that?
Yeah, are you going home or are you coming back to New York? Or do you still consider New York your home?
I just dropped off. I just came back from the city, dropped my family off Sunday. Now I'm heading back. I left yesterday to come back to work.
To Alabama.
So, yeah, from Alabama.
Oh my God, Neil, you're gonna kill yourself, dude.
No, I'm good.
Neil, you're not a young man anymore. You're not a young man anymore. You need to be careful driving like that, brother.
Bill's got to be paid, baby. The only thing that's bothering me is I took the whole way because it's supposed to be shorter, and it seems like it's longer. All I'm doing is paying freaking tolls and watching the hours go by. It's supposed to reach there at 1 o'clock. Now it's 3 o'clock. Just I'm tired, but not tired. I'm tired of freaking driving.
Okay then.
Yeah, but I had to do it because it's a ton of work.
So is it 15 minutes until? No, it's another whole hour, right? Until Ball Busters. What is it? 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central.
I think he's doing it at 2 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, it's 15 minutes until it starts.
15 minutes. Yep.
Hey, did Nathan's show start later today?
Yeah.
Okay, that's like perfect time for me, but nevertheless.
Earth measured flat.
I want to know how they did it back in the day with horseback.
How they traveled across
what?
Yeah, you ruined the conversation a little bit, Neil.
Nathan, on Globebusters the other day, Whitsitt came to the conclusion that was made here a long time ago, that every time you have to do anything that involves a lot of money or involves a possible loss of life, you have to treat the earth as a flat plane. And he said, I'm going with that from here on in.
Yeah.
A point was made here. How long ago was that point being made here? How long ago were you talking about that?
Years ago.
Yeah.
So if he's 5 years behind, is there any chance he understands the necessity for level to be a horizontal plane even within their claims?
Who are you talking about? I
No,
missed it.
That's too
we're talking
advanced
about
for him.
Whitsitt. No, he I don't think he'll ever get there. I don't know. He may get there. It depends, but he's too busy focusing on ether physics and globe geocentrism. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's slowing him down. His progress within the topic is slowed down by his beliefs.
Brian, I don't think he wants to get to the point right away. I think he wants to extend it so that he can continue getting his subs in and his views in and his videos out.
Exactly. You hit it right in the head, D-Rose.
It sickens me that he might be going on to Candace Owens. He just mentioned something, and that mention is enough for me. It sickens me that he might be doing that, because that's what I did not want. I don't want him going on
To
there.
dig at you.
It's not
He's
that.
going.
He could say what he
Him
wants. but
saying
that'll
that to
only
a dig
promote
at
me.
you. Listen, they know. They listen to the show. They obviously listen because they had critique the other day, right? So they know.
Yeah, but let's just say,
but that you like her as
you're breaking up, Neil.
Get back. He's going to be on there.
Yeah, I don't care what he says about me. The point being, if it's something that I need to address, I'll address it. But that's not my focus. My focus is that he'll go on there and he won't talk about flat Earth. He'll talk about geocentric globes and ether. That's the problem. And everyone will be mesmerized going, wow, this fella really seems to know what he's talking about. And someone will just come out and pull him apart. Someone from the globe side who has a bit of an understanding of things or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Well, you know what? You know, Brian, what you have to do is you have to stay posted on when he's going to do that. And hopefully when Candace does it, it'll be one of those call-in or, type of things where she keeps it in an open chat for people to come in and chime in. And then you can come under anonymity. Or if you come as Brian's Logic,
I'd be
just
my
to test.
logic. There'd be no anonymity. I understand what you're saying.
Oh, you'll scare
You know what I
the
mean?
crap out of him then.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You might scare him.
Yeah, well, when John was away, Refracted, being away working. John, are you still there? Was Refracted still there?
Yeah.
Because the reason why
Victory Royale!
When you were away working, right, that was the time the one time I needed you on the show. Because Candace Owens lives in Tennessee. And I don't know if she lives near you. She lives in the same city or town where that shooting happened in the school there during the year. Remember that transgender girl or whatever went in and shot up. Remember there was 2 cops had to kill her or something. Whatever part
Oh
of
yeah, that
Tennessee
was. I don't remember which city that was though. Does anybody else? I can tell you how. Well, I'm in the very northeast tip of Tennessee, so.
You're breaking up, Neil.
I thought it was Pigeon Foot. No?
I think it starts with an R, John. It's only one in Tennessee. Name out a few of the well-known parts of cities in Tennessee, the bigger ones.
Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville.
I think it was Nashville.
It might be. Nashville's about the midpoint.
Right, so she's a little bit of a distance from you then.
4.5 hours.
No, it's a bit of a distance.
Tennessee's a beautiful state too.
Yeah, I'd love to go there and see it. I would. But I was hoping that she lived somewhere near you and you could somehow contact her and say, listen, we'd like to talk to you about you bringing up the topic of flat Earth. We'd like to talk to you. Or I have someone who wants to talk to you about this subject, if you're interested, or something like that. But 4.5 hours away, that's a world away. You know? I was hoping she was living in the same part of Tennessee as you. Well, Tennessee is a big place, so.
Is there not an official email address that you can just write her?
I can't get a hold of her.
Like Adam, Adam can, the way he worded.
Yeah, I tried that and I can't get a hold of her. Maybe someone else can. If there's, maybe you could even you found John. You found somebody. You found someone's agent the last time. I could not find any agent or any contact for Candace Owens. I couldn't find anything. Now she was in transition.
Yeah.
Hello.
Radio check 1 2 1 2. Radio check 1 2.
Hello. Can you hear me? Most importantly.
Yeah, I can hear you. Most importantly,
can you check my levels are just right? Check 1 2. Nathan is ace. Check 1 2. 1 2. Is that clear? Am I nice and clear?
Levels are wrong.
Your levels are perfect, and you're clear, crystal clear.
Well, that's good to know. Everyone else should carry on.
Annoying, but clear. Yeah.
Just check again. 1 2. Brian is awesome. 1 1 2.
1212, original D Rose does not have a lift.
Where's Betty? What's up,
I'm gonna be
Flatsy?
popping in. I'm gonna be popping in
Hey,
and out of here because I'm still at work.
Bugger!
Mic check, mic check. Mary had a little lamb.
Hey, QE, this is all going to be on Discord. This ain't going to be on Google, right?
I'm going to go over to Discord. Okay.
Okay.
I'll talk to you either way.
So next time I sign back on, I should go over to Discord, not on this.
Yes.
John.
Okay, gotcha.
John,
all right.
Refracted.
I'm out for now.
Refracted. Could you have a look if you have a spare time? Just 5 minutes. See if you can get a contact of somebody for Candace Owens. I'm not saying because you're in Tennessee. I just mean that you found it the last time. I just couldn't find anything, and I looked twice. So if you don't mind, because I'm literally worried that she's going to have that idiot on.
Did you try
Yeah,
behind the
I
fridge?
got a reply from that guy.
Yeah?
Yeah, it basically told me to get lost, but he was a very more eloquent than just get lost.
That was Jesse Lee Peterson's producer, was it?
No, that was Joe Rogan's agent.
Oh, Joe Rogan. Yeah, sorry. I forgot who we were focusing on back then. Well, their loss. Remember that. Keep that email because it's their loss. In time to come, when everyone wants to talk to us, you can let Joe Rogan know that his producer or whatever agent told you to hit the road.
Right, on that note, as it's 5 minutes to QE showing and around at mine. So with that, and huge, massive, enormous thank you to both G Plus and Discord for making this after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams. Hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Hit me up on Discord and PayPal and Ko-Fi and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.